Perfect. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. Karibu sana. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning and it's quite chilly in the city here. We are actually approaching the month of July. And you know how it usually goes in the month of July. Karibu sana. Some of us have to be here either way. Regina and Vivian. Yes. So it happened. My predictions didn't work. I said England was going to thrash Ghana. But it seems that the three stars were not getting their glitter. Finally, I think Ghana did a good job.
They did.
Yeah. Ghana did a good job. The game ended 0-0. But it was one of the best games. According to me, that was one of the best games of the tournament. If you look at the England squad, for example, England squad and Ghana, I can say they have a lot of similarities because most of the players are actually in foreign leagues, Premier League. Look at England, for example. You have got Pickford. Regina, do we have Manchester United here? We have got Madueke. We have Anderson.
Oh, really?
Right? Kane, actually, Harry Kane, who is the captain. We have got a good squad. Pickford, Declan Rice, Anderson, Spence. I mean, these are people who know themselves, you know, and they are, come to Ghana. Senaya, we have got Semenyo, we have got Pate, people who know each other pretty fine. So 0-0 wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. It was yeah. So Arsenal was doing a very good job.
Well, as far as that is concerned, on Group L where England is playing, right? England has 3 points. Ghana has 3 points.
Yes.
So some difference, 0, right?
Yeah.
3-3. So we're still at a draw. So whether Arsenal players played well or not, Ghana there held its own.
It
and
did.
I'm just looking at the third place ranking in as far as the World Cup is concerned. And I'm seeing the champions of Africa, who are Senegal, are at actually 12th position.
Yes.
With absolutely 0 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe they claimed Africa and they did not want to claim the world because we are not seeing them play as Senegal as we know it. I don't know what's going on with Senegal, but hey, it's a third place ranking. And
Senegal
when I
is not
look at
getting,
its
they're
group,
not getting their groove very well. I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Either it could be because of the squad, the way it's... You know, this World Cup is giving a lot of the underdogs, quote unquote, the underdogs, a lot of, you know, limelight. There is this country called Curacao, which has almost a population of 150,000 people. Yeah, and they are at the World Cup. So, exactly.
and they have 1 point.
And they have
actually
yes.
ahead of Senegal.
Ahead of Senegal, just imagine. They're
Some surprises coming in with this year's or the World Cup this time round. But I mean, isn't that just how the game is? You can never really be sure on your predictions.
It cannot be. Even Japan.
Even Japan have been giving us a really good game, and
South Korea
Cape Verde as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. And South Korea are playing today. They're playing against South Africa. That game will actually be shown at 4 p.m. right here on KBC. So there's South Africa and South Korea.
Yeah.
I don't know what you or which team you're rooting for when it comes to the two, but yeah, they'll be playing at 4 p.m. And there's a game that is currently ongoing. Colombia, DRC. It's currently ongoing.
74th minute.
Yeah.
Batoto Bamungu and they're 0-0.
0-0.
Yeah. Akina Ronaldo walifanya ile kitu jana. And how do you beat people 5-1, 5-0?
Finally, we got, you know, we got to see Ronaldo scoring because for those of us who Ronaldo is the GOAT, we were having such a hard time online. We were having such a hard time after Messi scored all the goals that he's scored so far in the World Cup. So at least that was a good one for Portugal.
And that is it's a battle, Regina. It's a battle between Messi and Ronaldo, right? The top scorer.
You
Yeah.
see, I actually need to sit out this one out between CR7, that is Cristiano Ronaldo, and
Messi.
yes, Messi. However, a little girl somewhere who is on her midterms told me, "Mom, you don't know, Ronaldo is a goat." So I'm like, okay. Young lady, I support Gor Mahia. That's it. So whoever carries the day, well, let's wait and see. But I like that they're in top form, looking at the age. I think they're in top form. You do not expect all that from, such players who are what we consider already advanced in age, So I would say that they're in top form, and that is good for their careers. And I remember some years back, we had people, soccer players like Luis Figo. I mean, he always made my World Cup, the World Cup then, something to sing home about.
Yes.
Well, so
Yes.
on this one, Messi, Ronaldo, I sit one
And I
out.
think-
I watch and enjoy the game.
And I think the two of them,
Yeah.
most, somebody like CR7, probably this is going to be his last World Cup.
I think so too.
Yeah,
Right?
probably.
Because
I think so
the guy
too.
is 41, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong. So the pressure is on him to exit with a bit
On a high,
exactly. So the pressure is on him, but Messi pia anasema, it's going to be there. Okay, so let's come back to the discussion. I love it the way we talk about it because KBC, we do sports. All right, so tomorrow is a protest. Regina, your paper says something about the protest. Mine also says the protest anxiety.
Actually, mine reads Gen Z protest divide.
Exactly. This one, the standard, protest anxiety. And the four gentlemen on the spot is President William Ruto, IG Kanja, we have got Interior CS Murkomen, and Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. But then that is going to be forming my part of discussion. Today I really want us to take a look on the other side. How can the Gen Z make use of this day to be a positive or a better day? We all remember Sabasaba, what happened way back in the day. Talk of the likes of Rubia, the Orengos of this world, Shikukus of this world. They stood for something on that day. But decades on, that day is yet, not gazetted nationally, but then there is something that normally happens on that Sabasaba day. So can the Gen Z get some groove on this day? That when it comes to 25th of June, it's not about running battles, tear gas, and killings and all that. But what can they do? Can they advocate for more governance? Can they advocate for more equality? Can they advocate for rights of those people who were killed during the 2024 demos? What can they do about it for them to live this? Because remember, in the next few years, they'll no longer be Gen Z. The Orengos of this world, remember they were called young turks way then. Right now, they're old people. So how can that day be a good day? Oscar Mondi, who's a political analyst, is also a university don, will be here. Ken Bosire is a training and consulting editor with a number of years in the newsroom, as well as Shadrach Wambo, who's an advocate of the High Court. The gentleman, I want us to unpack that. Today is going to be class 1-1, so that if you can pick something, pick it. If you can do it tomorrow, do it. We will be safe as a country.
To weigh in on your rhetoric question there, I think I would also want to hear, how are we adjusting to the times that we're finding ourselves in as far as youth representation? Because Victor, the generation that we are in right now is not the generation that we had 20 years back.
True.
So for them, it has to be done in real time and now. This is a team or a demographic that has demonstrated that they have already lost it all. So they are ready to lose more if there's something like that. So we also need to, I want to see how the powers that be, that is the authorities, also take note of the change in the demographic, how they think, how they operate. Because it also trickles down away from the streets in as far as demos is concerned. It's also trickling down to our learning institutions. We have seen what has happened in schools. Children want to be heard. Those who came from a different demographic, a different time, are saying that children are being treated like eggs. But is it? You see, we are different worlds apart. How do we find a nexus? I'll be waiting to hear that. Victor, Vivian, what do you have in store for us before I bring you up to speed?
Today we will be looking at digital augmentation and safety. And you know, as you mentioned, we are living in a different kind of world. It's a world where the internet has taken over. There are things like advanced as the AI, and we're just trying to find a way in which we can ensure that our children have a safe space, even in this AI-driven world. So that will be my conversation later this morning, and then we'll also be talking to a woman who will be our woman at the forefront this morning. She is a special needs educator and a disability advocate, as well as an actress and model at the same time, and she'll be here just so that we can look at ways in which we can be defying odds and defying the stereotypes as women all together. So that is what we should look up to, or look forward for rather, on this morning, on this beautiful Wednesday morning. My name is Vivian Degwa, and of course, the show has started. It's already on the road. So, Regina, what's in the news?
Thank you very much. Now, let's bring you up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines. And we'll start off on matters economics and finance, where President William Ruto yesterday signed the Finance Bill 2026 into law at State House, Nairobi. This paves the way for implementation of new tax measures in the 2026-2027 budget. The 2026 Finance Bill focuses on broadening the tax base, sealing revenue leakages, and tightening compliance, rather than broad-based tax rate increases. President Ruto said the act will now help the country with a legal framework to finance and the resources that it has prioritized under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The president also clarified that the law is not aimed at raising taxes on ordinary Kenyans, but it improves fairness and closing loopholes on wayward business entities and tax evaders. Last week, the National Assembly passed the Finance Bill 2026 into its third reading with 122 votes in favor, while 40 voted against it. The vote is among efforts by the government to fund the 4.8 trillion shillings budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
Defended the amendments to the Finance Act, which have sparked intense national debate over taxation, fairness and development. He stressed that extensive public participation preceded the enactment of the bill, with Parliament receiving submissions from more than 170 organizations and over 100,000 individual citizens, alongside digital platforms that allowed Kenyans to share their views.
This budget invests in people, productivity and prosperity.
He took issue with what he called a wave of propaganda, misinformation, disinformation and fake news surrounding the act.
There was no proposal to introduce taxes on freehold land, or any land for that matter. There was no proposal to introduce taxes on second-hand clothing or mitumba. There was no change to the rental income tax.
Key measures include higher import duty on sugar to protect local factories and farmers, a 6-month tax amnesty, expanded mortgage relief to microfinance borrowers, and increased duty-free allowances for travelers. On education, 784 billion shillings has been allocated, with more teachers hired, expanded health funding, and increased support for schools, TVETs and CBC infrastructure.
We will recruit a further 24,000 teachers, bringing the total number of teachers hired under this administration to 124,000 teachers.
Healthcare funding has been raised to 175.5 billion shillings, with the president assuring free outpatient services at public and accredited facilities.
Absolutely clear to any facility in the Republic of Kenya that charges any citizen when they go for outpatient service, that we will shortly make it criminal for anybody to charge any citizen. All a hospital needs to do, if a citizen is not registered, they should register them and treat them for free. We will pay for the costs.
Trevor Ngendo for KBC Channel 1.
There's a lot of debate around the Finance Bill 2026, and we'll continue keeping tabs on that. What does it mean for Wanjiku now that we have that particular framework? Now, the High Court has issued a stern warning to Cabinet Secretary in charge of Health, Aden Duale, for non-compliance with court orders. Duale was facing a civil jail term over the disputed Ebola quarantine facility located at the Laikipia Air Base. On Tuesday, Duale appeared before the Justice Patricia Nyaundi, seeking to have the contempt expunged and exonerate himself, stating that he had issued orders to the contractors to stop the construction of the facility pending the hearing and determination of the case.
Tuesday at exactly 11:30 a.m., Aden Bare Duale walked into the courtroom to honor Monday's summons for contempt.
They would have been on that side, but seeing as it is that the media is occupying that side, with your permission.
Taking to the witness box, Duale in a sworn affidavit confirmed the suspension of the Kenya-USA quarantine deal.
The ministry understanding of the conservative order was that the court had suspended the implementation of the proposed collaboration between the government of Kenya and the United States government in relation to the Laikipia Air Base facility.
Duale was in contempt of court orders issued on May 28 this year and reaffirmed on June 2nd this year, tendered an apology saying he was committed to the rule of law.
It was never the intention of the ministry or myself as the Cabinet Secretary to disregard, undermine, or act in defiance of the orders of this honorable court. A fear that the Laikipia facility could serve as a vehicle for Ebola importation into surrounding community is scientifically unfounded.
The CS urged the court to exercise its discretion in its mitigation, since the government was constructing the facility in good faith for public interest.
By the Honorable Cabinet Secretary, in what would otherwise be a willful disobedience of the order. The lady, on the second hand, that is on the one hand. On the second hand, we understand that this court is also exercising public interest and protecting public interest.
However, Katiba Institute and the Law Society of Kenya, who are petitioners, urged the court to impose a higher sanction on the CS to avert future reoccurrence.
Perhaps an appropriate order might be for him to file in court a status report of the project, so that then any violation or any changes can then.
While giving a ruling, Justice Patricia Nyaundi discharged Duale, but issued a stern warning.
Not later than 8th of July.
The judge has also directed that all the petitions in the case be consolidated for the next hearing. After tendering a remorseful apology stating that it was due to scientific and technical advice and not his own decision. Ruth Wamboy reporting from Milimani's Law Court.
Still keeping up on matters legislation is that Kuresoi North Member of Parliament Alfred Mutai was yesterday arraigned in a Nakuru court following his arrest on Monday in connection with the violent clashes that occurred during a youth empowerment event in Kuresoi, Nakuru County over the weekend. The violence left 3 people with gunshot injuries and a bus was set ablaze. This and more in our Scales of Justice segment.
Parliament was presented to court today, where the prosecution sought 14 days to detain him pending investigations. The court, however, declined the request and granted the Member of Parliament a 50,000 cash bail. In Malindi, the High Court held its proceedings in various locations as part of the ongoing Kwambinzaro massacre. According to the prosecution, the exercise was intended to give the court handling the case a first-hand opportunity of the scene. And a Congolese national, Ulundu Patrick Elias Kolunda Ilungu Elias Patrick Biarufu, has been sentenced to 3 years imprisonment or a 10 million Kenyan shilling cash bail with the right of appeal after the court established beyond reasonable doubt that Kolunda defrauded a Chinese national of 456 million Kenyan shillings in a fake Tantalite scam. Chief Magistrate Dolphina Alego passed the judgment on 23rd June 2026.
Second count, the Scotiarian sentence accused to pay a fine of 10 million and default 3 years custodial sentence as legally stipulated in the Act.
Bruce Mayoyo, Good Morning Kenya.
Well, now to the counties. After years of walking long distance in search of clean water, residents from 5 villages in Magarini Sub-County, Kilifi County, are now set to benefit from a new water project that will ease their daily struggle.
During the commissioning of the first phase of the project, Magarini Ward Representative Paul Charo confirmed that the initiative is already underway, saying the project is worth around 400,000 Kenyan shillings.
Wafadhili wangu ambao niko nao wamesema kwamba wako tayari kuendelea kusaidia kile kijiji. Kile kijiji iko na changamoto mingi.
Elsewhere, Kwale County resident have urged President Ruto's government to ensure that all land held by absentee landlords are returned to squatters.
Ardhi ya pili ambayo tuitaka ni shamba la kwa Mukhani, ambayo li shamba kila kitu limeisha, lizi imeisha, hata watu kuna watu wanalima pale, kuna watu wamejenga nyumba zao pale, tunataka wapimiwe lile shamba warudishiwe wenyewe.
Meanwhile, residents of Mukuru Kwanjenga have staged protest against what they describe as illegal development of a disputed parcel of land by private developers.
Tulienda High Court na tulipofika High Court tulipewa conservatory order kurestrain wale wenye tuliwapeleka kotini.
In Mombasa, bar owners are opposing the proposed tobacco control amendment bill, citing inadequate stakeholders consultation and concerns over its impact on businesses.
Tunauza sigara kwa bar zetu, but this bill is going to introduce another license that we are also going to be included in that license.
The Kenya University Staff Union has expressed concerns over high tax burden facing Kenyan workers, saying it is placing immense pressure on ordinary citizens and worsening the cost of living.
As a representative of workers, we are concerned that the workers in this country, who are actually the engine of the economy of this country, are overburdened.
And the government has reaffirmed its commitment to transforming technical and vocational education through the integration of professional training and technical skills development.
We are training these young people to be able to be excellent in a certain space, so that whenever they go, therefore, outside there, to certain institutions.
Finally, the government, religious institutions and other stakeholders have been asked to invest more in infrastructure that accommodates persons living with disabilities in a bid to promote inclusion and eliminate stigma.
Kumbuka tuna hawa ndugu zetu na tuweze kuwakaribisha, yaani yale mazingira yewe yanaweza kuwakaribisha.
Danton Indande, Good Morning Kenya.
Now, we'll be taking a quick breather as we prepare to bring you up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines in the business world as well as sports. Now, well, it seems that we are ready for that. Is that the Family Bank has listed its shares on the Nairobi Securities Exchange with the stock touching a high of 50 shillings a piece from the listing price of 18 shillings. Family Bank Chief Executive Officer Nancy Njau says the listing positions the lender to leverage the capital markets to support its long-term expansion strategy.
Our ambition to become a Tier 1 bank in Kenya has never been much closer than it is now.
Family Bank becomes the latest bank on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, broadening investment opportunities and contributing to increased market depth and liquidity.
Illustrates the transformative potential of a well-governed enterprise operating with vision, discipline, and long-term commitment.
The BOW's debut caps Family Bank's transformation from a building society established in 1984 into a Tier 2 bank.
It is our hope that this listing serves as a catalyst that inspires family-owned businesses, privately held corporations, emerging champions, and regional enterprises to view capital markets as a destination, as not a destination of last resort, but as a strategic partner in their growth journey.
Njau says, whilst the listing by way of introduction does not involve the issuance of new shares or raising of fresh capital, it provides existing shareholders with a transparent, regulated marketplace.
Our listing on the NSE represents the continued evolution of Family Bank into a stronger, more transparent, and future-ready bank.
The listing positions the lender to tap the capital markets more efficiently in the future should it seek to fund business expansion, digital transformation, or new product development. Regina Manyar reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Still on business, Kenya has advanced its ambitions of joining the Global League of Nuclear Energy Producers following a high-level technical mission to Ontario, Canada, led by the Kenya Electricity Generation Company alongside other national stakeholders. KenGen Managing Director Engineer Peter Njenga described the tour as highly successful, casting the move to nuclear as a big step in Kenya's push for industrial growth and round-the-clock clean power. The visit comes as KenGen has been designated as a prospective owner-operator of Kenya's first nuclear power plant in partnership with the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency. The initial nuclear project is expected to generate 2,000 megawatts, with long-term expansion plans targeting up to 6,000 megawatts as part of a broader national strategy to increase total installed capacity by 10,000 megawatts. Now, before we speak sports, especially where World Cup is concerned, is that the Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya has handed over 2 training grounds to the contractor for construction works at the Talanta Sports Complex as the country readies itself ahead of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations, where Kenya, alongside her East African neighbors Tanzania and Uganda, will co-host the continental showpiece. Mvurya also used the opportunity to conduct the inspection of Raila Odinga International Stadium and expressed his satisfaction with the work so far done. Now, the pitches are critical elements in supporting AFCON 2027 preparations and hosting this tournament. The construction of the 2 grounds adjacent to Talanta complex is expected to be complete next month, ahead of the expected Confederation Cup Africa Football CAF inspection visit. The 2027 AFCON is scheduled for the 19th of June to the 17th of July 2027.
I want to confirm to Kenyans that we are in good progress, to preparation of AFCON 2027. Away from having paid the hosting fee, we have now seriously embarked on preparing our infrastructure.
Well, now I'm just quickly trying to look at the updates in as far as the World Cup is concerned. We had a game at around 2 a.m., Panama and Croatia. We also Group L, Colombia versus DRC at 5 a.m. And tonight at 10 p.m., we're going to be having Bosnia take on Qatari, while Switzerland are going to be squaring it out at the same time with Canada. You may be asking, how does the group stages, or rather, how do the group standings look like? So in Group A, Mexico is at the top with 6 points, Korea coming in with 3 points. Group B, we have Canada, who's going to be playing tonight, as well as Switzerland, position 1, position 2. Group C, we have Brazil and Morocco. Brazil topping with 4 points, Morocco 4 points. Group D, we have the United States of America with 6 points. Coming in second in that particular Group D is Australia. As far as Group E is concerned, we have Germany and Cote d'Ivoire at position 1 and 2. Group F, we have Netherlands and Japan, position 1 and 2 there. Netherlands on 4 points, as well as Japan 4 points. Group G, Egypt and Iran top that particular group. 4 points there to Egypt, Iran 2 points. We have Group H, where Spain and Uruguay lead the group there with 4 to 2 points there, respectively. Group I, we have France and Norway there, leading the pack with 6 points each, while Group J, Argentina and Australia top Group J, 6 and 3 points respectively. Group K, we have Colombia and Congo DRC topping that particular group with 3 and 1 points respectively, while Group L, where England is at, and we saw that particular showpiece yesterday between England and Ghana there, ending up in a draw, topping the Group L Group L, their group with 3 points each. So which matches are we going to be showing you today? We're going to be having a match at 4 p.m., yes, as well as an evening game, 4 a.m., yes. We'll be having a game at 4 a.m. And you know that we are going to be keeping tabs and also having an opportunity to do quite an in-depth analysis of the games that have so far been played. So may the best team win. I'm Regina Manyara. I leave in the capable hands of Victor Law as he takes you through the next conversation, which we invite you to be part of. Get us on X at KBC Channel 1. Have a good day.
My talents are dancing, acting, and even playing football.
So today's book is Take Off Your Brave, Poems Just For You.
Today I'm going to show you how to make a grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible
Yes.
to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, only on KBC Channel 1.
Great. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. It's 5 minutes past 7 a.m. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya on such a cold morning in the city. And I hope it's going to be a good day nevertheless. Okay, so today let's have a discussion. Being a Wednesday is a viewpoint. And we all know what is happening today being a 24th, tomorrow is 25th. It's a day that many people have been talking about for the last 2 years, 25th of June. What happened? We all know what happened the 25th of June of 2024. The Gen Z uprising, that changed the landscape, not politically so, but the general landscape of this country from our social interactions, politically speaking, financially, because the whole essence was about the finance bill, but that has also moved to different facets of our existence in this country. And that is why I think it's important for us to move a little bit, think outside the box. The way Ken Bosire would dictate in the newsroom that when you're given a story, you think outside the box, right?
Yes.
You think outside the box. This pen is just a pen, but how can you make a story out of this pen? That is what I'm talking about. So, to the Gen Z, we can make that June 25th to be something important and something valuable for all of us in this country. And I think that is what we are all yearning for. So today, without calling names and all that, I want us to get back to class for the next 1 hour, and it begins right now. What can we do to redefine June 25th? That is what I want us to talk about, all right? Ken Bosire is training and consulting editor with a number of years in the newsroom. That's why I call him senior.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me, Victor.
Good to see you as well. Sabasaba Daily kupata wapi? 1990. And what happened?
Right here in the city.
Very good. Just leave it at that. Shadrack Wamboi.
Thank you.
An advocate of the High Court. Karibu sana. 2024 was a crazy day.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
I want us to go back down memory lane. You are here in the city. On that 7th day of July, 1990. Where were you and what happened?
In the estate, and very young people, very, very vibrant, following in the what we call a build-up of activities, because Sabasaba was a culmination of events that had started pushing with the push for political pluralism in the country. We existed in a single-party dictatorship, KANU then, where people did not have enough room for expression in terms of parties. And that time there was, Kenya originally was a multi-party state before it turned itself into a single-party state through KANU and the dissolution and of other parties and mergers. So Kenya became a one-party state by law. And if you did not exist within that KANU...
by law?
By law, yes.
Okay.
By law. In Parliament, it was moved and Kenya was officially made a one-party state. That KANU was, that's why you hear names like Baba na Mama. It was everything. In politics, if you fell foul out of the KANU thing, you were out of politics and public life, and you were completely put in the freezer. So there was that clamor of people, of many people wanted forms of expression. And that form of expression in terms of plurality in politics, because politics meant everything. If you were not in the political sphere, you lost your public office. Everything else began and ended with KANU. So there was that push for the society, and especially the young people, very youthful, elite, people who had honed their skills of leadership within the university halls, the university fields, and they had held leadership. They came out into the world and they said, it's time for us to have plural politics so that we can have the freedom of association and express our things without being tunneled through a one-party thinking. So there were build-up activities, and of course the response was very, very adverse. The government responded with a lot of aggressiveness and aggression, with detentions and jailings and people running into exile. It was a very anxious moment for all of us, that especially the people who are in the forefront. A lot of the universities were scattered. What were the centers of debate? The people who are seen as radical found themselves either in detention, and that was the time that we had also the famous Nyayo House torture chambers. So everybody, the country was restless, and people came out boldly, especially the young people, the Railas, Dr. Muhisa Kituis, and very young people. They were under the ban of the Young Turks, and the push was we have to have a change of constitution, removal of Clause 2A, to allow other people to have political outfits through which they could express their political feelings and desires and aspirations. So the police and the government responded with a lot of brute force, and Sabasaba became the showdown day when there was a lot of violence. People faced up to themselves, killings, the violence and the bloodshed that was there. And that for me marked the turning point in terms of the way we engaged beyond just violence and everything, and we began to think that it was now time for us to have a discussion.
Yes.
And that discussion is what culminated in the removal of Clause 2A.
The repeal of Section 2A.
Yes.
The reason why I ask that, Wakili Shadrach, is so that we get back to, history has a way of teaching us.
Yes, indeed.
And having him here, 1990, that is 36 years ago. And he was there, he saw it firsthand. And the reason as to why the likes of Shikuku, the likes of Orengo, the likes of, Rubia of this world, and so many people were agitating was the repeal of Section 2A.
Yes.
Which ultimately Moi did. So here we are, meaning they stood for something.
Yes.
Listening to that, let's go back to 1990. Let's just go back quickly to 1990. What are you seeing the Gen Z fighting for? Assume you are there.
The fight in the year 1990s, as I have heard from Bosire and of course from my little interaction with history, because I am a student of history, is that there was so much agitation, and fight for the political rights of the people then. So the quest was for a platform or for an opportunity for people to be given another political vehicle in terms of political parties through which they will express themselves freely. Because as it were then, it became very difficult for people to, request or rather urge citizens to elect them into any political office, because the only platform through which you could seek to be elected into any political office was through KANU, which was the political party Baba na Mama. So you see a citizen that was, their political rights had been taken off or taken away by the regime of the then, prompting the desire to fight for that political space. I mean, the fight then is not the same as it is now, largely because the current constitutional dispensation has permitted by giving each and every one of us the freedom of choosing which political party you will wish to be associated with.
Okay.
Now, that means that we have a freedom to associate with whichever political party that we have. Over and above that, the Constitution has allowed us that since our politics, sometimes we have very dirty party politics. Now, from this dirty politics, we have very desiring or deserving Kenyans that will be elected by people with or without their affiliations to political parties. So the Constitution has also opened the window. It has given us the opportunity of seeking these elective positions or mandates through what we call now an independent candidate portfolio. So this in itself tells us that the political space that was being fought very hard for, that led to the death and the maiming of so many of us, then this tells us that the fight for that democratic space in the year 1990, what we now call the Sabasaba, achieved its goal. It achieved its purpose.
The goal was to have a multi-party democracy.
Yes, and it achieved its purpose.
Very good.
Now, what is to Mr. Bosire and the others?
Yes.
The Sabasaba of the 1990s. It is what now it is to us
today
of the 25th day of June 2026 or 2027. So we will be commemorating this day owing to what really transpired on the 25th day of June 2024. And what we were fighting for was just our economic rights, the tax rights, so that you do not want to be overburdened by the demands by the state, taking so much more than probably what they should be taking in the real, in the actual sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Now it's the second anniversary.
Yes.
So let's push it to 36 years later. Yes. That is the next 36 years. There will be no more Gen Zs. The Gen Zs of today, who will be there tomorrow, will be old people. They'll be talking about 36 years ago.
Yes, of course.
And some of the notable names that will be imprinted in the minds of people another one who is quite active, and you know that, is Rex Masai.
Yes.
Okay? Amongst many who lost their lives on that day. Senior, when 36 years ago, whatever happened, people lost their lives. Right. And they stood for something, they achieved it. So let's now come back very fast to 2026, tomorrow. What do you think we can do, or the Gen Zs can do, so that 36 years later, from tomorrow, there'll be something that will be counted and say, you know what, the young generation of that day, of that day, in 2024, stood for something, and here is now what we are talking about. The same way they stood for something in 1990, and we can talk about it today, the Sabasaba and the repeal of Section 2A.
Thanks, Victor. I think it's one of the things that we have to recognize as a society, that while the 1990s were a fight for that Clause 2A, removal of thing, but the bigger picture was the fight for a new constitutional dispensation. That constitutional dispensation, constitutionalism, is what has gave birth to the new constitution. And that new constitution gave us that right now to express ourselves in terms of economic rights, political rights, social rights, and very many other rights. In fact, the 2010 constitution is a product of the sacrifices of the 90s and the 80s and 90s. And that is on that platform that the Gen Zs were able to express themselves. No, this is what is my entitlement as a citizen in terms of my economic rights and many other things. But one of the things that we have to remember, that each generation in a society, in a given time, has a certain responsibility, because we are a continuum.
True.
We build on from what we did. Like the 1990 guys built their rights for Kenya. From the freedom fights. They drew their inspiration, because we had to be an independent country governed by certain laws. And those laws served us up to a point, and people said, up to this point, we need a new dispensation. And that dispensation was constitutionalism, which we ended up birthing in the 2010 constitution. Riding on that continuum, the Gen Zs also picked it up and said, now this is the space that we have to do, and we have to express our aspirations and desires the way we do. So 36 years on, one of the things that, those sacrifices that were made that time, we have what we called the martyrs, the people who fell, who sacrificed, because, and they were the youthful element, they were called the Young Turks. The Young Turks were like the arrows of the day.
They were the Gen Zs of that
time, exactly. The arrows of the day that they say that the youthful element of a society is the one that, they're like the arrows that are flying out to use to protect, to survive, and to move on to the next stage. And it's that generation that birthed the constitutionalism that 2010, upon which the society had certain aspirations that were granted to it by the constitution. And these youthful people are the ones who it was their time, there was the moment. And each of those altars, shrines, in terms of who fell, in terms of sacrifice, because there's none in the continuum. The Mau Mau's people died. We got our independence, and we rallied about our independence. The 90s, we did our constitution, our new constitution, push for it. People went down.
Which came later, years later.
It is a whole process. That's why it's called a struggle. It's not an event. It's a process. And along the way, many people fall by the wayside. And along those people have fallen, who have given their lives beyond the ordinary. They fall in terms, they shed their blood. We use them as sacrifice to create a new society. It's not to destroy our society. Because you fight, people fought, we got independence. People fought and died to get a new constitution. And in that new constitution, the 2010 constitution allowed the youth now to express themselves. They went down, they become heroes upon which we built new altars, new ideals, upon which a society protects itself and grows to the next level. Because it does not end there. After the Gen Z, there is a new generation coming with new aspirations, with new trends, responding with new technologies and innovativeness. And the nurturing in society also shapes how we respond to the challenges. And this, for me, 25th of June, is just part of the continuum of Kenya reshaping itself, a dynamic society that is growing and wanting to respond to what is Kenyanism. what is it that makes me a better person? What is it that can make my society beyond this for the next for tomorrow's generation?
Oscar, karibu sana. Oscar Mondi is a university don. He's also, he deals with Gen Zs a lot. He deals with them a lot. You read their mind almost on a daily basis. Karibu sana is also a political analyst. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
25th of June, that's basically what we're talking about. Today we are in class.
Right.
And what are we learning? And the question I want to ask you, as you also give me your opening remarks, is we've just gone back down memory lane to 1990. Ken Bosira has given us, you know, a good history where he was and what happened during that day. Look at it this way. How can Gen Zs capitalize on this? Because he's talked about something, because when you look for change, it has to be a lasting struggle. The key word is a struggle. You don't fall by the way. So what can Gen Zs take advantage of this day? It's not gazetted, but can it stand for something?
Thank you very much, Victor. And I can hear what where Bosire coming from. And Wakili here. Oh, you Wakili. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is that whatever happened on 25th of June 2024 marks a very big thing in Kenyan political arena and political consciousness that comes. Change, as Bosire tells you, change must only be brought by one group of people in any country. If you look at whatever has happened in different countries, you know, the Tiamen struggle and all this, it's the youth, the young people, and the young people are so much prone to change. The youth want change all the time, because this is a group of age sets where these things are done. Even soldiers in military camp mostly are youthful people and all these, and people who engage in revolutions and struggles, they are almost always the youth. What I equate with the Gen Z struggle and what you're asking me is, I will equate it to the Soweto uprising of 1976. The Soweto uprising of 1976 is when the young students in South Africa rise up against apartheid. And that marks the history of the struggle of apartheid in South Africa. You know, the Dutch who are implementing apartheid in South Africa say that Afrikaans will be the language of instruction in the schools of South Africa. And the Soweto uprising comes on 16th of June. 176 students and children are killed in the streets of Johannesburg, in Soweto. And also this guy called Peter Hectorson, whose photo is seen, Peter Hectorson is being carried after being, and it shows the brutal force the apartheid is using on children. And this marks a turning point in the global space around South African politics. That now this is too much, and now South Africa is put under sanctions because of this. 176 children killed in the streets because of the Soweto uprising. Today, like last week, South Africa marked 50 years of the youth uprising. Yes. It was 1976. And every year, it's a public holiday on 16th of June in South Africa, and it's dubbed the South African National Youth Day because remembrance of 1976 Soweto uprising. And apart from that, the United Nations has also recognized 16th of June as the African Child Day. It's marked globally as the African Child Day because of the events that happened in Soweto on 16th of June, 1976. So, to your question again, how can we change June 25th?
June 25th, yes.
To be marked, because it is when now the youth becomes seriously politically conscious.
Yeah.
And now they want to take it upon themselves to change the matrix, to change the type of politics we play. And we see the deaths that happened. 60 people are dead. Actually, it was 128 according to Kenya Human Rights, because some of them died later. But you see what happens in Soweto. After the death of this 176, the leadership of this revolution carries on and presses the apartheid government to stop doing whatever. They change the curriculum again, introduces other languages to be used as instruction in schools, and change the curriculum of schools. Because of this, the pressure was on and on and on and on, because the likes of Steve Biko didn't die in 1976 in this uprising. They continue to pressurize the apartheid government, and changes are made. What I think should be done, for example, we're talking about the Saba. On this particular day, different things should be done. other than just demonstration, you lose the meaning of the very day, because if they go demonstrating tomorrow and again the brutal force is put on them and other people die, I mean, other people who are not part and parcel of the youth do not join the revolution, because the revolution is continuous. It's not something that should stop. It is the pressure because where we don't want to go back to. We don't want to go back to the excesses that Busiri and the rest faced. We don't want arbitrary arrest. We want people who are arrested to be produced in court within 24 hours. We want our new constitution that people lost lives, bloods were lost, children died, and many people died in the likes of Baby Pendo and all these people. These are people who also died in the whole melee. And you know what has happened.
Yes.
Many people have died. So we need to get away where we can do it in a very good way. And that is why I told you that probably tomorrow, if I were the president, or I would have been Murkomen of this world, I would have just declared tomorrow, Gazette tomorrow as a public holiday, and call it the Youth Day. And let's say everybody stay at home.
Yeah.
Let it become. And anybody who wants to go, in the remembrance of these people should go to either All Saints Cathedral, Holy Family Basilica, and where the Saba Saba is now being done, sometimes they do it at Ufungamano House, because Ufungamano House was the center of pressure from that particular time.
Yes.
And you know, Busiri, the youth of the University of Nairobi and the Students' Union of University of Nairobi, Adungosi and the rest, and people who were there, Karl Marx of this world, they were also there to pressurize the system to change a few things.
Very good. You know, you talked about the Soweto uprising. For those people who not know, it's about the Sarafina. So you can go and watch the movie Sarafina, where it comes from.
Yes.
It was enacted to depict what happened in South Africa.
Yes.
And you've talked about history. There's one teacher called the Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes.
She used Miss Musomboga, who was a favorite in Sarafina. And she said that history is important. History is interesting. When she was explaining how the Boers of South Africa, what happened, then she was picked. And that's how Miss Musomboga was never seen again.
Yeah.
But talking about history, and you know, you've given two different history. We are coming back home to Sabasaba, and now we are going back to South Africa. Then how now can we take advantage of this day, even as government, to Wakili?
Yes.
Can government take advantage of this day, quote unquote, in a positive way, and nurture democracy through the younger generations to come, so that in the next 36, 50 years to come, there'll be something tangible. We say the Gen Z stood for something, economic revolution, which the government, actually, the president ceded, and he did not sign.
Of course.
Can they take advantage of that day and nurture and foster democracy in this country? What they're fighting for?
Well, I think to answer that question, one needs to constantly remind themselves of, you know, the reason or the rationale behind the young men and young women of this country going to the streets. We must never lose sight of that fact, that we went to the streets. I was among the people who were in the streets. And I can tell you, as a matter of fact, we were there because we had made consistent and persistent you know, attempts to reach out to our members of parliament to tell them that the contents of this finance bill of the year 2024 has every manifestation of a law that is keen on frustrating the well-being of everyone, including the young, the old, and everyone in this country.
Can that voice still be sustained?
Yes, it can be sustained. You know, it can only be sustained by us constantly reminding leaders that the power they have been given is a power that is donated to them by the people. That you need to account for the power that you have been given, so that given an opportunity, you don't have to think first of yourself and your stomach, and probably, you know, the leader of your political outfit. The first person or the first thing that should always come to your mind as and when you are given an opportunity of deciding a matter is the welfare of the people. If the welfare of the people is not central to whatever you are doing, then it means you are going against the delegated sovereign power that has been given to you pursuant to Article 1 of the Constitution. So, in a nutshell, it is always important that we remind parliamentarians to be also keen to listen to the voice of the people, so that even now, as they are proposing a public participation bill, they must know that this public participation bill must not be a bill meant to stifle the very voice of the people they should, in other words, be representing. So they should come up with a bill that facilitates the participation of the people. You know, we have had growing jurisprudence surrounding this question about public participation. courts have been in the past called upon to adjudicate as to whether there was public participation or not. And on a number of occasions,
yes.
The courts have said that, even the failure to conduct public participation might not necessarily lead to the throwing away of whatever you will be challenging. Over and above that, the courts have said, and this is the Supreme Court, the courts have said that, even after conducting public participation, it does not necessarily behoove the person that was conducting that public participation to factor in your sentiments as the people that were involved. This is the Supreme Court speaking with regards to this value and a principle of governance under Article 10 on public participation. So you are telling people that we can call you for public participation, we will use public resources.
But your input doesn't matter. But
your input ultimately might not even matter. Because we just have to do it for the sake of doing it to fulfill a constitutional requirement. So this to me is a very bad sign.
Yes.
Because you are telling the people you matter, but you do not also matter.
Do you know what matters right now?
Yes.
Is to take just 1 minute break. I want to refill your cups. I want to refill your cups.
You're very kind.
We'll be right back. Stay with us because this discussion is just starting. So we need to warm up a little bit with some hot coffee. Stay with us.
Come on, how could it possibly be him? No, he's not that handsome.
I'm not asking you. He's the Requiem General of the Union Street. It's said that he's a formidable man with amazing power and low tolerance for weakness.
Hebu fikirie environment kama hii hapa Western Kenya. Eti mtu atatoka hapa aende Nairobi kusoma university to conquer the world. Mimi Andrew nitahakikisha hiyo ndoto imezimwa. Tazama hayo yote kwa Gundu KBC Tuesday to Thursday 7:30 p.m. Leo sio kesho.
Good blocking there. There's a couple of half-hearted appeals. Tell you what, does Wolf lead with the elbow?
They'll take any help of any kind that they'll get at this moment, Keith. Senegal.
I'm not sure where the Norway left back is on his back. I don't see too much contact on him. Yeah, he hasn't lifted his elbow.
Honestly,
Wolf.
I'd be really shocked if that was given.
Yeah, I think the right decision is just play on. It does take a little bit of a whack, as I say. Maybe the height difference is the reason for that.
Welcome back and thank you so much for joining us. Oscar Mondi, who is a political analyst and a university don, is here. Ken Bosiro, who is a training and consulting editor, is also here with many years of experience in the newsroom, and Shadrach Mboi, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. He was there on the 25th of June, I beg your pardon, yes. 2024. He was there. So you still want to finish your point, Shadrach?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
What matters from there?
Yes. I mean, 25th of June every year is celebrated as the World's Vitiligo Day. In fact, there will be an event on Saturday at the...
It's called what?
Vitiligo.
Oh, yes,
vitiligo,
yes.
yes. You know, vitiligo is different from albinism. So it's a day that people are sensitized about certain changes in their body and how they should react to those changes. But locally, speaking to our local politics, this is a day that we will remember moving forward of, of the events that happened the last 2 years. And one thing that we must be very careful, and this is what I want the people to realize about the people who are shouting the loudest now.
Yes.
The people who are shouting the loudest now are the same people that put us in the mess that we are currently, trying to find answers to, and the problems we are trying to endure. And we must be careful, because our politicians are a different breed of animals. They like hijacking so many things, turning events to suit to their political narratives. And the politicians that caused the events of the 25th day of June 2024 have since metamorphosized into something else. They are now shouting the loudest. They are now the ones pointing fingers at the very government that they had supported by frustrating the will and the wishes of the people. So if you are MP, because I always go back to legislators, because everything rises or falls from legislators. In fact, if you are to review the past, as it has been mentioned by Mr. Bosire Senior here, is that even the detentions that were utilized as a tool of suppression then, they were lawful detentions. There will be a law, there was a law giving power to the president to authorize the unlawful detention. So that was a law. It's like slavery. So slavery, at some point, slavery was legal. You will hire, like this one, I look at Oscar. Oscar looks very strong, robust. I hire him to be carrying me around like my slave. That was lawful. Up until a time when now, there was the realization that we are all equal. You could be black, you could be white, and for that reason we decided, no, you cannot enslave another one. In fact, to be even more strict, our current constitutional dispensation prescribes that one of the rights that you cannot limit, then one of the non-derogable rights under Article 25 is the freedom from slavery. You cannot enslave someone under what circumstances. So we need to understand that everything rises or falls from the law-making process. So that in 1990s and before, the parliamentarians then had given the president power to order the detention of someone.
Yes.
And that was lawful.
Yes.
Even as we speak now, our MPs have been given so much power. In fact, they are the ones that decide what will be spent in State House. Yet, they end up passing bills, they end up passing laws, and they now go begging. They go begging, they now start telling us that the problem really is not with us, members of parliament. The problem is with the president, which is not the correct constitutional position. And yet they still wield the powers. Yes, it is not the correct constitutional position. Let me end by saying that our leaders are very good at distracting us from the real issues. So that if someone is supposed to take accountability of their actions while in office, and they are afraid or they are fearful of doing so because there will be probably some very serious political ramifications, what they do, they distract you by telling you, it is not me, it is Oscar.
Yes.
So that their attention is drawn to Oscar and not myself. I have an MP elected under the UDA party. But this MP elected under the UDA party has since defected from UDA, at least by conduct and by what he says from the word of his mouth. He goes to funerals and tells people that, I since off-boarded the wheelbarrow. I am no longer boarding the wheelbarrow. So I am no longer a member of the UDA. Just to appease the mourners. The truth of the matter is this, that even while he says with his mouth that he is no longer a member of the United Democratic Party or the United Democratic Alliance, then by his conduct, he is still a member of the UDA. This is someone who has mastered the art of doublespeak. That I will be saying one thing while in reality I am doing another thing. And that is exactly what they are doing even with these demonstrations slated for tomorrow. They are the ones that pushed and passed the finance bill of the year 2024. They resulted to deaths and destruction of properties. Now they are telling us that, This government has been oppressing you.
Yes.
We are here. Tomorrow we shall be in solidarity with the Gen Z. And they are the same people that put us in this same position.
Okay. I think maybe you can give Busina a minute. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I like the way the discourse is going. That first and foremost, we have to look at the Kenyan as a nation state. Did we ever have any ideals that made us? We have been very mechanical in the way we respond to ourselves. We have been dishonest. A lot of aspirations of ages from the very construction of Kenya have been marked by betrayal. And this continuous disengagement, betrayal, hijacking that the struggle never seems to have answers. That when we think that we have made it, then we realize that we have been betrayed along the way. And the greatest betrayers from the 50s, the 90s, up to 2000 have been one constant factor, the political class, because we give them responsibility to lead us. And in that leadership, they end up conning us. And this is exactly, for me, all this, if we had, for example, do we have a day, we never for a long time had a day, like the struggle for freedom in this country, was actually named after Kenyatta Day, after an individual, when it was a struggle of the Mau Maus, very many people. So one person ended up hijacking it and giving it to him, personalizing the day.
And it was changed.
It was changed after a long struggle. It's part of that struggle that we're saying. One day, the struggle of our people, the aspirations of our day cannot be symbolized by one person, who in the end, ironically, is actually ended up betraying those ideals. The 90s, we ended up saying, did we ever commemorate, immortalize the struggles of the people who gave us constitutionalism? Today, we don't even look at them. There are people we don't honor. We do not honor these people because we have been dishonest. Part of the history that we need to have, for me, 25th tomorrow, is a day for us to step back and have a conversation. Who are we as a country? What do we stand for? Do we honor the people who have brought us thus far? And that lack of ownership is exactly, for these events that happen, they are catalysts for us to think. They jolt us to thinking about what is our responsibility. What do we want to come?
How can the government motivate the younger generation? Because we are in a democracy, and the space that we are enjoying, some people fought for it. The likes of Orengo, who are still here, fought for that. You saw it firsthand.
Yes.
You know, some of them are still here. Githubu Manyaras of this world, Martha Karwas of this world, they have been there for long, and the space is open for all of us. So how can the government actually motivate the younger generation, even in the push for...
If I can finish my thinking, I think it's important that if the government really is committed to do these things, it's time for us to call ourselves to a conversation. Say, through the times, we need to speak to ourselves. And bring those guys who have been part of the continent and still alive, and then context ourselves and say, we have come this far. If I were today the president, and unfortunately I'm not, I'll call tomorrow a day for a national conversation at an individual level and begin to say, yes, this has been part of it. The Sabasabas, the Young Turks and everybody else. Let's speak to ourselves. What is it that, where have we lost it?
Okay. Who are the Young Turks? Who are the Young Turks who are alive today?
Manyara, Kitui, Mukisa Kitui, and very many others. And Paul Muita is one of those guys.
I agree, but again, from what Busiri is talking about, of hijacking of processes, when the Mau Mau are fighting for liberation of the country, but when we get freedom, who is there to represent our aspirations as Kenyans? The collaborators.
Yes, the collaborators.
People who collaborated with the white man, not the Mau Mau who was struggling. So it was hijacked. So independence is... The struggle for independence is hijacked. And now, what were we fighting for? And Malema asked the same thing. The land. Did the Mau Mau get the land? No, they didn't get the land because whatever they were fighting for was hijacked, and hijacked by people who are in bed with the oppressors. Then. Currently, whoever you are mentioning, who are the faces of the Gen Z struggles of these demonstrations tomorrow, who are they? Probably the united opposition. The Matiangis are talking about it, and you see Kalonzo, you see Orengo, you see all these people. It means that the Gen Z struggles have been hijacked again.
I want to see
Oscar,
did they have they have their leadership? Because as it is right now, this one is actually described as you're part of them, Wakili.
Yes, don't go like that.
No. They were faceless, leaderless, and all
they
that.
were not faceless. They were not leaderless. That is what they said. But we know that this was a young person's struggle.
And that is why
we
the
don't
politicians...
have to have the specific people...
Just a minute. And that is why the politicians now hijacked, because they realized there was no leadership.
I was building a history from what Bosiri is saying. Okay. We have a culture of hijacking. And I'm saying that the young people who are called the Mau Mau, who are in the bushes struggling for independence, never saw the fruits of independence. And I'm saying the young people who, some of them died and some of them, you know, what they're talking about, in the classroom, what we're talking about, 7 years in medical school and there's no job. 5 years at law schools and there's no job. But we cannot blame the young people. What we need to do, we don't need their leadership. We just need to hear what they're saying and do them. Opulence in government. Why will government officials be flying every time, having 7 billion on just logistics, somebody flying on a chopper, in a country where people cannot get medicine? Why do we have a 4.8 trillion budget and still there's no medicine in public hospitals? Why do we have fertilizer that is subsidized from 5,000 shillings from 7,000 shillings to 2,500, but people cannot still afford it? You don't have seeds. It is useless, a budget. A budget should be telling us no tax exemption, zero rated. We don't understand those things. What we are saying is, can we see the price of foodstuffs come down? Can we see the opulence that is in government stopped? Can we see people, the wastage that we see in government stop? Because there's wastage. Why do we use billions of shillings to do nothing in government? That is what they're asking. That all should be discussed. That all should be conversation. Looking for the Gen Z leadership, it's meaningless. Looking for blaming them on what they raised pertinent questions. Were these questions addressed? Are these questions are being addressed today? Is our budget that we read the other day realistic budget? Does it address issues that they addressed yesterday? Do we have to have a representation of almost 400 parliamentarians doing nothing? Do we have a parliament this time round? Last year, the youth went to parliament because parliament was not doing the right thing. Do you know what happened to finance bill this year? 180, almost 168 parliamentarians did not participate. Yes. People who earn $1 million shillings, the highly paid in the world. We pay our politicians so much to do their work on a very important day when a finance bill is being discussed. 160 parliamentarians do not participate. Okay. These people should go home. Parliament should still just go home because you're not doing your work. Your work is when the finance bill, the most important discussion in parliament is finance bill, because it is how our government takes money from the people and manage the system, manage our country. But if that day you miss parliament and 160 of you, and we pay you 1 million shillings every day to do that work, then we don't even need that parliament. And the problem that the Gen Zs were raising, it's even worse now that they're not even attending.
There is the bunch of the legislators, the parliamentarians that missed on the vote. I don't find them to be any different with those that voted no, and those that voted no did not even understand why they were voting no. They are almost same. It's a difference without a distinction, because a majority of those that voted no, when they were given a chance or an opportunity to debate and distinguish between what provision in the finance bill they find to be uncomfortable with the people, what it does, its repercussions, most of them were lost. They could not even point a finger at the particular provision that was offending them. So to me, and this is my very honest assessment, I could differ with someone else will differ with what I'm saying, but I don't see any difference with people who voted no for the finance bill and they did not understand in full flavor the contents of that bill, and the people who opted to abscond the vote. Because we have members of parliament. I have tried to understand the contents of that bill, and I can tell you for a fact, some people were just rising on their feet for the purpose of just playing to the gallery.
For the content.
For the content.
Content creation.
Yes. My member of parliament is just one of them. Who
is a member of parliament?
No, he's just another gentleman.
Victor, I think it's important.
And we need, let me just close by saying, I know we just need to surrender the floor also for Senior. But the truth of the matter is, we just need to reflect very deeply about the quality of the people we are sending to that parliament. We are discussing very serious issues, matters that touch on our lives. I have seen, and there was a clarification that was given by the president yesterday as he was ascending to the bill. There was a misinformation that was propagated, sold, and I think most of us bought it, that certain proposals in that bill touched on amendments to law, on land, so that it metamorphosized our freehold land into leasehold land. The truth of the matter, that proposal was first floated in the finance bill of the year 2024. When it failed, after the president opted now to reject it altogether, after he was given, the bill was sent to him pursuant to Article 115, and then he forwarded it back with reject the whole finance bill of the year 2024. The truth of the matter is that later on in that year, Parliament, in their in their large numbers, decided to pass a law called the National Rating Act. The National Rating Act of the year 2024 is what now came to do what we had rejected in the finance bill of the year 2024. I am actually in court challenging that act of Parliament as we speak before my Lord, my Lady Justice Patricia Nyaundi here in Nairobi. Before, it was before my Lord Justice Bahati Mwamuye, and then it was transferred to Kiambu. So the truth of the matter is this. Some of these loud mouths that we find in Parliament are the ones who put us in this trouble. Yet they are trying to remake and rechange their image so that we do not realize the hyenas that they are.
Okay. And the question is, which I get you, Wakili, but then 2024, there was a message.
Yes.
Is that message still clear? Is it still active? Because I'm asking this question, when you talk of Sabasaba, there was a reason. Repeal of 602A.
Yes.
Here we are, the space we are enjoying was because of that particular day, commemorated. But is the voice of 25th of June 2024 still active?
I mean,
you will answer that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think it really, the voice is active. The voice is active in the sense that even when they tried to dodge, one of the most difficult things that I find incomprehensible is how you can run away from your legislative duty and hope that you will be forgiven, that you are not part of a process. Those 187 MPs today who did not show up in Parliament, for me, they are the enemy of the country. They are the people who failed to do. In fact, somebody should go and dock their salary for this month. They should be left without salary because they never worked. They never worked for the Kenyans.
Senior.
And they did not work. And then what was so appalling is that the illiteracy, the responses that I had on the floor of the House, it was just political posturing. I also spoke. That's what it is. That is what I call about the dishonesty way in which we engage as a country. But having said that, I think it is important as a country to carry the conversation and context it by what Mwalimu Oscar said. We don't have to personalize these things. There are issues that we have to respond to it. What are the issues? We need a conversation. There's unemployment. How do we respond to it? And this is exactly what we need to do as a country. Everybody across the political divide, that we have ceded a lot of our thinking, our feeling, to a clique of people. And in a way, it is asking us, what do we stand for as a society? Because we constantly begin to point fingers at the top, but fail to point fingers at ourselves. Who do we elect? What do we expect of them? Why do I stand on the road to be given money so that I can vote for you? What does our vote mean? I think for me, the 25th, tomorrow, should be an interrogation of what does our vote, what does our sovereignty mean to us? The rights that we have got, how do we appreciate them in the context that we have had a discussion? We have the space of the Bill of Rights, and what are the aspirations of a country? We, the people. It's about us, the people. It's not about individuals. A collective psyche and discussion that we have to talk about across all sectors, so that tomorrow is not a day of confrontation. When you get into confrontational mood, then you lose sight of the issues. They get swept under the carpet. The bloodshed, people think of the more emotive issues and begin to take take leave of their senses to begin. Tomorrow we have to talk about what is the issue of youth unemployment. Where do we want to go here? What is political representation? What does my vote mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to electing people and then saying this. This for me is the conversation that we need to carry. We have the rights. How do we begin to embrace and enjoy them going forward in a more engaging, a more reasoned, instead of shouting and the posturing that happens from family level. Even when you're talking about Gen Zs, we have also failed at a parenting level. So do we guide them? Do we give them the ethos, the ideals and ideologies that will shape them into a better tomorrow?
That is the question I asked. How can the government enhance and support the Gen Z so that this day has a different shape and meaning, not tear gas, running battles and people losing their lives?
The government will take advantage of doing some of these things and continue repressing when the revolution gets hijacked.
Yes, it's true.
It's, you know, when you go, you know very well, Brazilian, that non-violence has worked for Mahatma Gandhi, worked for Nelson Mandela, worked for Jr. in America, Martin Luther King Jr. Non-violence, because the oppressive state has the monopoly to use violence. The monopoly, the institution that has monopoly to use violence is the state. So if you go violent against the state, they will always win because they have the weapons of violence and they have the legal way of using violence. So when we have conversations like whatever is talking about, but these conversations can never be led by part of the oppressors, by part of the people who pretend, who go and hide behind, like for example, make it impactful. Sabasaba were made impactful when people came out and voted in 2002 against KANU. That was the day in 2002, they voted in 2002 against KANU now and throwing KANU back, especially so that we have a democratically elected government in Kenya, and we stop about the one party ruling KANU, Jogo, you remember those days?
Yes.
When everything was Jogo and the voice of reason was only one. Yeye ni mkulima namba moja, mwalimu namba moja, mwanafunzi namba moja. That was Moi. And killing this one was impacted after those Sabasaba rallies. The impact, the day of reckoning was 29th December 2002, when now the entire country came out and voted no to the regime.
Yes.
After 2 years again, when we voted for a referendum, again an impactful day. Because you see, the public opinion is measured every day, but voter behavior can only be measured once in 5 years' time. So we wanted, like for example, when the young people again came up with Nico Kadi, again it was hijacked. When I saw Nico Kadi, it was going all over, it was going viral. Then I saw Gachagua again and his people branding their vehicles Nico Kadi. So again, they have hijacked again, but that was supposed to give the young people their initiative. Let them do it. Let them do Nico Kadi, and let they impact that one when it comes to the vote. The difference between Kenya and South Africa, and I told you, Steve Biko and the rest sustained the struggle against apartheid even after the 1976 revolution.
Do you know something about this, Oscar? Anytime you give an example, you name a personality, you name someone. Yes. But in Kenya, who do you name when you talk about Gen Z?
What I'm saying is this.
Who do you name?
It is different because the thing is that the overbearing political people who have been there for time. I'm personally running for Senate in Siaya in 2027.
Ah, good job.
Yes. But now I'm running against who? Against Dr. Buru, who was a councillor in 1974. So he's been in the system for far too long, holding the system, plus the power, plus the money, plus... It's a hard, difficult ceiling to hit. And that is the problem of the young people. Even, for example, the party ODM, you know, is an old man's party, and now the young people inside there, the people, I remember if you're talking about the Jains, there was also Mark Oure and the rest. He's been forced to be consumed in the system that exists because the system has existed for far too long, and people will vote Orengo or Oburu or, for example, the names they know because of they know they've been there far too long.
There's something they stand for.
So hitting that one and getting Wakili to get into parliament is a big problem because of the overbearing system, the people who own the system, the people who own capital, the people who've been there for long, they know the system, the way the system works, and they don't even allow even democracy within the political parties.
Yes.
Because we must start by democratizing political parties. We know that Wakili can go and contest his constituency and win in a political party that is popular in this area. It is not possible. We get those ones, but out of 400 MPs, you find only 10 were from the proletariat. The remaining 90% were people who are part and parcel of this thing, who know how the state works, who does business with the state. For example, now to revitalize, I was talking to a border rider the other day, and he's telling me that the motorbike he uses, which is electric motorbike, he's bought it for 250. And I was shocked that he told me that nobody in Kenya still owns those ones. I asked him why. That all these are on loans. They're owned by a system, and they cannot work out of Nairobi because the system does not even allow, because the government does not regulate it. And also some of these things, to empower those young people, you have to do some. But when the system is held by people who own capital and control capital, they even control the political narrative. So everything they hijack, and you see these people live in Karen, and Gachagua, Ruto, Kalonzo, Matiang'i. I think these are neighborhood, the Karen neighborhood.
So that's what I'm asking. So now, this is very interesting. So what can we, assume we're all in class, and we would want to assist Wakili, because he was part of the demonstrations. How can we help him so that he can make better that day, moving forward for the next 30, 36, 50 years, the way it's supposed to be? How can they sustain? Because the question I asked, is that voice still active? I asked you, Akili, is that reason the voice as to why 2024, whatever happened, that was unprecedented?
Yes.
Is it still active? And the momentum to keep it going, is it still there as well?
Well, in my very honest assessment and view, I think the voice is still active. It is the more reason. It is the more reason we keep discussing about it. People are preempting.
I don't know why when you start, the director said that we need to take a break.
Fair enough.
Okay, it's just a quick break. This is part of the system, Oscar, right? I hijack his statement.
It's called the straight-jacketed system.
Exactly. So this is part of the system. We will be right back.
In where I come from, Oburu has been there for 60 years.
He is not my boyfriend.
Baby, bado uko in bad mood a moment.
Hey!
8.2 million sio shilingi mbili banasa. I'm in no mood to receive bad news.
What do you mean you have bad news? Mark, you had one job and one job only.
I'll make you go down. Umenisikia? Will Ailo act as if everything was as before?
Nothing is as it was before now, is it? What are we toasting to? I know nothing.
Yeah.
Mark alikuambia nini kuhusu container yangu?
Cheers.
Kwenye Mkulima wiki hii tunaangazia kilimo cha miti dawa.
Ukulima ni kitu nzuri. Watu wanasemanga ni ngumu, lakini hakuna kitu rahisi kwa hii maisha. Kila kitu ni ngumu. Kama unapenda ukulima, ingia roho moja, ingia roho juu, kuja ukiwa tayari kufanya kazi na utapata, ukivuna utapata pesa zako.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
All right, welcome back. Okay, to the final tail end of this discussion, I'm still with Oscar Mondi, who is political analyst. He's also University Don, Shadrack Komboi, advocate of the High Court, and senior Ken Bosiru is a training and consulting editor. So, Wakili, coming back to you again, the guillotine keeps on falling on you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The question that you posed, so that, of course, we keep the viewers and the listeners at rest, whatever that is happening here, is whether the voice of the youth, as it were in the year 2024, is still active.
Yes.
And I believe, in my very honest assessment and view, is that that voice is still active. I think it's the more reason we are discussing about it. Today's headlines and articles in the newspapers are just strewn with writings about the June 25th. That is tomorrow. What we should do. Frederick Okango, the former, I think, SG of KANU, has spoken so much about we should honor, treat the memories with dignity and respect for the rule of law. For our friends did not die to create room for lawlessness. We did not die so that every time we have the commemoration, then we have destruction of property, we have the loss of lives. No. The men and the women that died, the gentlemen that died, some of them were even Maseno school, old boys, people we went to school with together. Some of these people that died, they died for some cause. They died as they were calling out for political accountability. I mean, how to keep these memories alive is this. On a number of occasions I go to church. I go to different churches, trying to educate people on the dangers of having very uninformed or misled or misleading politicians representing us in parliament, in assemblies. So, and every time I go there, there is usually the insistence that we should be praying for leaders. We pray for the president, we pray for his cabinet, we pray for MPs, we pray for governors. The view I hold that I think time is nigh for us also to be praying for the people. The people should be praying for themselves. Because this problem has a genesis. The genesis of the problem that we have, that is electing representatives that do not speak to our wishes. And that is what informs what happened in the year 2024. We had representatives that did not speak to our wishes. They spoke to someone else's wishes. And this situation is what now has gotten us to where we are. So it is important that we reflect on the genesis of the problem. The genesis of the problem is we the people who continue to make up or to make decisions based on our immediate needs. Probably if you are hungry, you just need some tokenism from a leader. On Sunday, we had a boxing tournament at the Ngong Bus Park, within Kajira North constituency. Because the people of Kajira North constituency have given me that mandate to lead them because we are leaderless. So, as their representatives, we organized a boxing tournament. This tournament was meant to bring together the community so that we will sensitize them on the need of having peaceable demonstrations. For far too long, my constituency has enjoyed tranquility. It's up until the year 2024, when our current member of parliament, did what he did against the wishes of the people, that we have seen or we saw, young men and the community going to the streets, demonstrating. Last year we had a commemoration. I led a commemoration last year within the constituency, and I took to his office, I gifted him with a coffin, just to remind him, that he caused the death of a gentleman called Kennedy Onyango. And he has resulted to the loss of so many lives. In fact, as we speak, I am still in touch with so many people who are meant to benefit from the compensation that the government is offering of the people that died during that period of time and even after. So I took this coffin to him just so that he can keep it together with his certificates.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
Because this is what I'm talking about. Non-violence.
It's non-violent.
Oh yeah, it's
non-violent. I had a petition. I wanted to give it to him, but I realized that they don't read. You have seen what happened in the parliament just the other day. They are just debating over the emptiness, from the emptiness of their head. So it is important that every time, over and above probably written things that we are giving to our leaders, it's important to always demonstrate. I have seen very good work being done by our newspapers, by the use of caricatures. the cartoons to express what the political scene is as we speak.
Yeah.
Because our leaders do not have time, or not even time. I think it's the competence to read and understand lengthy documents.
It's good you say that a leaderless movement can sustain their voice for the next 30, 50 years. And, Steve Biko, Martin Luther Jr., they have a name to whatever they stood for. But my question is, that leaderless group, can they sustain that? Because who is going to... Because at the end of the day, you have to stand for something, be known for something. When you see, for example, Governor James Orengo right now, when you talk about Matiba right now, if he would come back to life, you're still asking the same question, the Shikukus of this world, you're still asking the question, what happened on that day on 1990?
Thanks a lot. Wakili, you have a morbid sense of gift. A coffin can be a gift.
That's so scary.
Very morbid, but very effective as well.
Yes.
Yeah, but the message
you went and bargained for it and said, this is the best color, this is the best size.
So what I wanted to say, Victor, is this.
Okay.
The whole process is about our propensity to hijack things, our love to be hijacked.
Yes.
This is really what bothers me, that each time we are ready for anything, when we are just about to get what we get, we allow ourselves, we sell ourselves cheap and get hijacked. And we are happy to be hijacked. We are happy to be ransomed by these people who we are calling now the leaders, upon who we kind of cede our personality and our aspirations to. And they have known our vulnerability points. And for me, when you asked about 25th, what do we do? The conversation that we have had Kenya as a country has been continuous. And right from the inception, sometimes I believe that Kenya never quite got independence.
Yes.
The construction of the colonial state has remained the same. We have only had players changing in terms of color and in terms of time, space. Time, space, and characters. But the script is the same. So what the Gen Zs are going to be part of the script unless we take a very radical step and say, what do we ideologically ground our own aspirations? The personalities find points of expression. Biko was not just a Biko. Biko was an ideal. Do we have a person who is ready to take the ideal in this country? I'm sorry to say, very many of the people that we could capitalize our ideals on are too quick, because they know the DNA that we love is that we are vulnerable to be used. And each time the country has to learn what we call an element of dialogue, an element of self-discussion and introspection. From the 90s, when the country was, confrontation was the out of the day in terms of constitutionalism, fight for the new constitution. And we realized that if we did not have an election in 97, we would probably not manage to go through the process of getting that. People stepped back and did what we call some brokering, what was called inter-party, IPPG.
IPPG, right.
It allowed us to have a valve of discussion. Well, it might have served certain short-term interests, but then the people got involved in it. What was their motivation getting into this space? Their space was also to be part of the gravity train. And this has been the problem, the construction of a country that you get into a space not because you want change, you want to be a catalyst, but you want to be part of the process that gets these things. So for us, I think, is to begin to have the populations in what I see in now, Bunge la Wananchi. Who controls the narrative in those Bunge Wananchi? People are beginning to have a discussion. And this is what the Gen Zs were saying, that let's have a discussion. And this discussion has to be led. It has to be anchored on certain ideas. What do we need? Economic rights. How do we enjoy them? How do we spur production? We cannot talk about taxation. We cannot talk about a welfare state that is also very weak on production. What is our work ethic in terms of production? If we want this money to come, are we working hard to produce the money so that when we are taxed, we can talk about taxation and representation? Are we living on people's money? Are we budgeting, like the budget, the 4.8 trillion? Is it our money that we have produced from our sweat? Very few of us. Are we people who are willing to say we are accountable, I want to pay my taxes, I want to do this, and be open for scrutiny? We are not. This is the dishonest that we have to begin to use our 25th today to examine and review and introspect on our body politic, social, economic politic, and our ethos as a society, beginning to say, when I stand there to take my vote, what do I want this vote to do for me? Do I want to use my vote so that somebody can give me money as a bribe?
Yes.
Can buy for me go on your thing?
Yeah, go on your... Okay, but so just want to I want us to come now. We're starting to land now, slowly descending to the runway. So tomorrow, moving forward, I want us to change this script to a little bit, to sanitize it, so that we are privileged to have the likes of Wakili here, who can actually have some good purpose and petition Parliament and have their voices heard, organize for some kind of whatever it is. Let's talk about governance and accountability questions, which, you know, the Gen Z stood for in 2024 about the finance bill. So how can they make it, you know, more palatable, non-violent?
I think from what Posire talks about, that as we are susceptible to being hijacked, and because we don't have what we call political consciousness and ideology.
Yeah.
Ideology died, you know, Jaramogi and all this. The ideologies that these guys hold, and you know who won. The capitalists won, Mboya and Kenyatta. The capital, so we went capital. And it has been like that. So it has even made our politics very, very expensive because it is controlled by capital.
Yes. Yeah.
The only problem that young people have into ascending into power, you're asking about lack of leadership. Why did they lose leadership? Tomorrow, you won't see Wakili and his friends going to the streets and leading this process again.
Will you be there, Wakili?
You won't see, you won't be there.
Yes. You can never deny
you
or
won't
accept.
be there as the leadership of this thing. You won't be there as the leadership of these things. You know, we had, by that time, there are names that we had, Victor. We had Morara, we had Marco Ure trying to lead. We had even Okiya Mtata, who is an ideologue on some of these things. Now, Okiya Mtata is going to court. Okiya Mtata has noticed that in our budget, 100 billion has been budgeted for other things. 100 billion for what? Other things. Those other things are not indicated. That is illegal. The budget must always address to issues. Specifics that, according to our constitution, the budget must be that we are budgeting 100 billion for building hospital, for doing this. But there's nothing, there's not allowed in the law that you can budget 100 billion for other things. That is not acceptable. But I'm saying, why did we lose these names that you're talking about? It is because of capital. It's because of capital, because logistically, you want to be in this space and you want to be in this space and you want to do this and this and this. And politics has been made so expensive. Currently, Victor, to be the chairman of a welfare group in your village, you're the chairman, know that most of the funerals that are going to happen in that village, you will be funding them as the chairman of that welfare group. So it becomes very expensive to be able to maintain, because we went so much capital against what? Ideology.
Yeah.
So people who stand for ideology are always center back, and you will be told, if you go to we go to campaign and we told that, Oscar, your police are very good, we listen to you, but tupe kitu kidogo. You know, so when it comes to like that, that means that the only person, and I always tell you, and I always tell my voters, that if you see somebody lining 1,000 people and giving them 5,000 shillings, it is stolen money. Nobody is going to work hard and get money and give it for free. If you see people giving out this type of money, most of it is stolen money from you. But you see, for them to get that, to link that one, it's so difficult for our people, because the more oppressed they are, the more silly also they become, because they lose meaning of themselves.
Yeah. And
this is what brings to even the leadership of this thing. The Bunge la Wananchi, these are good spaces where people discuss a lot of things. But you see, the Bunge la Wananchi also, they are hijacked and infiltrated. I don't know who controls Jacaranda. I don't know who controls Bunge la Wananchi at Jivanji. But they are also hijacked, because if you go to those Bunge la Wananchi, now what are they discussing? Are you one term or two term? You know, the one term and two term is the most useless discussion that we have today. And it is intentional to make us forget about the real issues that are affecting us. And what I'm saying, when I saw somebody going to Bunge la Wananchi to discuss about excess duty and zero rated, I'm saying, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
These people want to know, how does your budget affect the existence of medicines in their public hospitals? How does it affect that they don't have to pay so much to send their children to grade 10? How does that budget, is it realistic? We want realistic issues. Yes. Long time ago, Bosire will tell you, we knew that when the budget is being read tomorrow, people were waiting. Yes. It was a conversation of the budget.
Yeah, I remember, yes.
Yes, you remember that one. True. Even shops used to close on budget day because they're holding things. You remember those days? Yes. But today, people don't understand it. It's so complex for the local people, and it doesn't reflect directly. Whatever Wakil is talking about, like, for example, even myself are sitting here. I don't know about this land issue that was discussed in 2024 that was put again under the carpet in 2025 or 2026 budget, 2024 then again brought up. So what happens is that we don't break it down to the people, and the people feel that it is meaningless. And the discussions about ideology becomes meaningless because they don't know where because the entire thing is chaos.
Thank you.
What happens is the people in power and the people in opposition are all the same, and that is why they can never have ideology. And that is why President Ruto is very easy to say. What opposition one agenda? Because what is it? Gachagua was with William and Kalonzo, and Matiang'i was there. And what did they say? What did they say about Dr. Fred Matiang'i? Anytime he opens his mouth, they tell him, you don't remember the Yala thing. And you see, because you've been part of the establishment and oppressive state.
So for the next 6 minutes, I want us to do this as we've come to a close. So then how do we make it better? Can the country regain our moral accountability when it comes to protests, so that tomorrow we can see certain institutions also supporting the Gen Z to bring some sense in them that yes, demonstrations, Wakilis, you also demonstrate, the legal fraternity, you also demonstrate. Yes. And there is a process, there's a way you do it peacefully because you understand what it means to be there. So can we just tell these people, Senior, let me start with you, Wakili, that even tomorrow, whatever is happening, and in the years to come, if it will be there, that we have to make it clean?
Well, Victor, I think you see we've bastardized demonstrations. Yeah. Demonstrations are constitutional. In fact, demonstrations should be seen as a panacea to the lack of accountability in our leadership. You know, in this country, we have trivialized leadership. We have not taken leadership to be a very serious issue. We don't understand that we rise and fall based on the leadership of the day. So that if you have a bad leader, if we do not have proper legislators, then it means we will not have medicine, the prices of unga will be high, you will not be able to afford the little luxuries of life. So up until a time when we stop trivializing leadership, we will continue suffering. And that is the reality that the people who are watching us at home need to understand. When we have made our leadership about, 1 term, 2 term, we have made our leadership to be about which political party do you come from.
The binaries.
Yeah. You know, I go around the constituency and someone, after I have spoken, I have said so much, someone asks me, which political party do you come from? I actually turn to them and tell them that you are the problem why we will not even heal from the diseases that we are suffering from. Does it even matter which political party I am coming from? The more reason you see people hopping from one political party is because of that, thinking. And that thinking is what is generating the problems we are having. Yeah. Someone will mess you. In the year 2024, we will pass a bill. The bill will lead to the death and destruction of property. Then this person will metamorphosize himself into another political party and say, I am not from that party, I am from this party. So you now want to kill everything and anything being said by anybody who is coming from that other political party. So what we just need to do as a people, we just need to be serious about leadership. Let us think very deeply about the quality of the people we are sending to these positions of influence. We do not have to hoard. We are selling leadership. I mean, you see, Oscar has mentioned, we line people. The MP will have people sit in a forum. After the meeting, you will be giving people 50 shillings. My MP is not very generous, so he gives people very small money. So 50 shillings. So these 50 shillings does not help, because we have a problem with accountability. When you go to the Auditor General's report of what became of our NGCDF come the year 2023 to 2024, 2024 to 2025, there has been a lot of misuse of resources.
Yes.
We have about 30 million shillings that cannot be accounted for. Then we are wondering, why do we have certain projects not moving on? Why do we have exaggerated projects? You have like a pit latrine toilet. A toilet, that one is for do. You know that do?
Yeah.
That pit latrine toilet. It's costing about 1 million shillings. Why would a pit latrine toilet cost 1 million shillings and you do not even have, it is not properly made. It's just made of iron sheets and some concrete walls.
Yes. All right.
So it's important that people back at home take leadership seriously. They will continue suffering up until when they will get their senses right.
My question, is there hope?
Hope cannot be lost. We are a living, people. If we lose hope, then we are dead.
Thank you.
So long as we are alive, we must continue hoping against hope. That at some point, through this thicket, we will just get the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay. Let me come to Oscar before we come to you, Sina. There's a reason why. Okay, go ahead.
Tomorrow, if you ask me, there's hope. There will be fear. For example, terrorists. When you see them holding people at Westgate for hours, they don't want to see many people dead. They want to see many cameras stuck together. So tomorrow there will be fear. People will not come to work, most of the people. Number two, the thieves and all these robbers will take advantage because of breakdown of lawlessness. Number three, the problem that will happen probably tomorrow, if the real demonstrators, the genuine demonstrators, don't come in their large numbers, the police might be able to get time to control that lawlessness. But again, we might end up losing the conversation that we're supposed to have. That conversation I was talking about, austerity measures that were supposed to be taken, wastage in government that is supposed to be there, opulence that is there that we've seen still, which were part and parcel of the things that Gen Z wrote in 2025.
Yeah.
That was supposed to change. That because we have 4.8 trillion budget, we still have to do 1.5 trillion on loans. We need to stop the loans. We need to have that conversation to deal with our debt. Those conversations, we need to have them. But now, tomorrow we're supposed to mark that one. We might not be able to mark that one, and we might lose that conversation.
And that's the question I've been asking. That's the question why we are having this discussion, so that can we make it better? So that we don't lose the discussion, that whatever happened in 2024 can be sustained long haul. That in the next 10 years we'll be talking about the finance bill. When you talk about a budget that affects a nation, it touches all of us here.
Yeah.
So if that conversation is not lost, then it means that every financial year, the government is aware that this is what Wanjiku is talking about. This is what Wanjiku is advocating for.
My last point, my worry is, our budget, still we have to go and borrow another 1.5 trillion to add in the debt that we have. The budget works like this, clearly. We have the KRA can only get 3.2 trillion. Out of this 3.2, 2.4 goes to debt. 1.2 goes to payment, wage bill, the government wage bill. So we have also, already, that is 3.4. The 3.4, and the KRA can only collect 3.2. So our budget is done. So the remaining development work that has to be done through loans. These loans are wearing us down. That should be the budget. We should stop government from taking more loans and be realistic.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I think one of the things that I like about this conversation is that it's calling us to think beyond the sporadic responses to issues, and something that has been part of our undoing. First, it's in the interest of the political class to have these confrontations so that the conversation is lost. It's across the board, so that they can then use our vulnerabilities to hijack our feelings.
Yeah.
What do I want to propose? That it is important that tomorrow becomes a day when we go into our various communities, the youth use their knowledge about certain things. For example, can they go to communities and begin to interrogate us from the basics? The MP gets this amount of resources. How has he deployed them? How was this project? It's an audit. We go into our small spaces. For example, I come from Kitutu Chache North.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of resources. But how are they deployed? People, the desperation is there. I want to go and engage people at that point and ask them, how are our resources? So for me, tomorrow would be, first, I find people like Omtata who are going to court now. Yeah. They're in a space where they would have influenced the outcome of that finance bill. They walked away because it's easy for them to come and do political posturing.
Yes.
And tomorrow, we must call out these pretenders. One, if you were elected in a political party and you decided that you are no longer served by those interests, tomorrow, if you are telling us to commemorate, the best commemoration is to resign from that party and say, I no longer agree with the principles, I want to go back, so that we can get back into the fidelity or political fidelity. If I was on UDA, I should now go back. The youth tomorrow should call everybody else. If you have left your party, please go back and seek fresh mandate. That's legal.
Yeah.
Two, who is who? You hold a position. What have you done with these things? And then begin to call out the pretenders and begin to say, one of the things, instead of protesting, like Wakili said, the picketing law is been bastardized. Yeah. Can we for once say that even when I go into the streets, I do not want to injure the rights of other people to do their own things. Follow the law it is, and because you can only fix a law by doing the right thing. And for me, the greatest call tomorrow, if we are to do something in conversation, is to have a rallying call to ask all the political leaders who have left their original parties to go home. And because so they then can say that we can truly trust you. There is a paradigm shift in the way we do our politics.
Okay.
That's
I like this discussion, and there's a reason as why we had to do this. So which means that moving forward, it can be made better for the betterment of this nation. We can have a meaningful conversation, because when you see during Sabasaba Day, there is always a common denominator that every year there is something they stand for. Either there's a petition, they look for something that is affecting the nation, and that's what they do. This what happens. I want us to take a look at the front page of the local daily. We didn't do that. So what do you have?
I have...
yes. Front page of the Star. What does it say?
Devolution goal in tatters. This is one goal as the counties splash on salaries, trips. For me, that is part of the conversation we need to have. Yes. Audit from that point. This is one of the greatest aspirations of the 20 Constitution.
As the counties splash on salaries and trips.
And that's where we've been betrayed. Yeah. Yes. And the noise that is there does not allow us to concentrate, to ask about this fundamental. Down here, no new taxes, says Reuters in Science Finance Bill 2026.
That was yesterday, basically what we're talking about today. Okay. Oscar, which one do you have? You have deletion. Okay, Wakili, Standard, what do you have on the front page of the Standard?
Gen Z second anniversary, protest anxiety. Tension as the country braces for tomorrow's anniversary protest. Fear, suspicion and political posturing have gripped the nation. From State House to church pulpits, businesses and border stages, anxiety is mounting over what could unfold on a day meant to honor victims of the 2024 Gen Z uprising. Even as President William Ruto's administration promises compensation for families of those killed and assures citizens of their right to protest. Warnings from top security officials, claims of planned disruption and deep mistrust among activists have heightened tension. You read page 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. So basically that is the second anniversary.
Victor, can I say something?
Let's check on the front page of the Daily Nation. First, Oscar.
You see, that is...
read it out.
Okay, the Gen Z protest divide. Different script. Ahead of marches planned for tomorrow to commemorate the second anniversary of 2024 anti-finance bill protest, authorities have promised to provide security for families of victims during the procession, but warned of ruthless police crackdown on illegal action intended to disrupt public order. And now DCP leader alleges plot by state-backed goons to unleash terror, blah, blah, blah. But again, what is here is that there's push for shillings 43,000 school fees increments. And they say that parents will pay more to educate their children in public senior schools if new fee structure proposed by principals adopted by government, extra county schools and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, very good. So let's all agree that, Wakili, you'll help us. We are all here, that you can go demonstrate, but it has to be peaceful, right? you can do it
peaceable.
Yeah, peaceable. I mean,
and armed.
And I'm so sure you'll not even see any police officer confronting you. You'll also support you when you do that. Just go there if you want to sit somewhere, relax, and be peaceful. Ukimaliza, just go back home. Your voice will be heard. Yes,
I'm just going to say part of what you're saying. Everything on this page 1 is about what not ought to happen in the new constitutional dispensation. Devolution is in tatters. Look at when you talk about the gender equity. All these people lined there are men. And yet, we are not interrogating that aspect. What we are saying is, it is time for us to look at how our fidelity to our new constitution. And I said this has to be about accountability, transparency, and fidelity to what we stand as a nation.
And to the rule of law. Thank you very much. Wow, what a discussion. That has been a mouth-watering one and quite an insightful one. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. The 3 wise men on the show today. Senior?
You know, Kajiado County was ranked the last when it comes to development. We have a 9% development record. We ranked last. I'm hoping that with our incoming governor, we are hoping one Mr. Katole Mtito will become the governor. Once he becomes the governor of our county, the shambolic...
You have Amboseli National Park.
Yes, it was given back to us.
Why is that
Kajiado County?
You see, the recycling thing is a problem.
Can make it better.
In my county,
yes.
My former governor, Rasanga, wants to be senator.
No, Katong has never been a governor in our county. In fact, the last time he had attempted, he failed. Of course, it was designed that he fails.
Victor,
but now
I want to go into that space and have the conversation myself.
Yes. Let us reclaim back our country.
All right, Benjamin, thank you so much. Senior Ken Bosire, who is a training and consulting editor. Thank you so much, sir, for coming.
Thank you.
Wakili Shadrack Omboya, asante sana, and continue pushing what you're pushing. Go ahead, and all the best, as well as Oscar Mondi, political analyst. University Don. You said Siaya Manyan. Siaya is looking for you, right?
Yes, the new one. We need to have ideas, ideology. What
Oburu is going for deputy president.
Oburu is going for Senate in Siaya. So I'm going against Dr. Buru and former Governor Rasanga.
All the best.
And we are all going to the spaces where we're going to have conversations at the grassroots.
Thank you.
We're climbing out of Nairobi and going back home.
All right. My name is Victor Lowe. That has been a very good discussion. Asante sana for watching. And have a good morning. Bye-bye.
Good blocking there. There's a couple of half-hearted appeals. Tell you what, does Wolf lead with the elbow?
They'll take any help of any kind that they'll get at this moment, Keith. Senegal.
I'm not sure where the Norway left back is on his back. I don't see too much contact on him. Yeah, he hasn't lifted his elbow.
Honestly,
Wolf.
I'd be really shocked if that was given.
Yeah, I think the right decision is just play on. It does take a little bit of a whack, as I say. Maybe the height difference is the reason for that.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Come on, how could it possibly be him? No, he's not that handsome.
I'm not asking you. He's the Requiem General of the Union Street. It's said that he's a formidable man with amazing power and low tolerance for weakness.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
All right, welcome and thank you for staying with us right here on Good Morning Kenya. We now get into the segment that is Woman at the Forefront. And today's conversation is on just breaking the molds and defying the stereotypes that sometimes are put or are set on women. And right here with me on set, we have Charlotte Ondiegochia, and she is a special needs educator. She's a disability advocate. She's also an actress as well as a model. And she's here to just talk to us, let us in on her journey as well as on how she has been able to break the stereotypes that may have come her way. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure to have you here this morning.
The pleasure is all mine.
And just as I mentioned in the intro, I would love for you to just let us in on your journey. You know, as a special needs educator, and at the same time, you're still a creative on the other side. You are an actress, you are a model as well. So if you can just let me in on that journey.
Okay, let me introduce myself.
For sure.
Again. I am Charlotte Ondiegochia. I am a special needs educator. I am a model, an actress, a disability advocate, and the founder of See Beyond Microcephaly Initiative. This is an organization that is dedicated to create awareness, promote inclusion, and support families that have been affected by microcephaly. I'm also a semi-finalist for the Miss Hot Legs Kenya 2026. Yeah, thank you.
All right. We've gotten to know all that you do. So now if you can just let me in on your journey, as I had asked earlier, in terms of just how have you gotten to be where you are right now, and, you know, just bringing these two careers together. Yeah.
Okay, my journey in modeling started when I was in the university. I was trying modeling for the very first time, and the reward was great. I was crowned the Miss Curvy 2023-2024 at the Kenya Methodist University. So this gave me a bigger picture of myself. I wanted to challenge myself on a bigger stage. So I participated in the Miss Hot Legs Kenya 2026 contesting, and I won the popularity award. For being a special needs educator, it is a career that I have been doing for 4 years now, and it's going on well.
It's going on well for you, and we like that for you. Now, if you can just, if we can get into now when we talk about breaking the molds and defying the stereotypes that are put on us many a times, how does that look like for you practically?
So for that, I would say I don't have to fit in one box as a woman to fit the society's expectation. I can be a model, I can be a special needs educator, I can be a disability advocate, all these at once, and do all of them, because I believe anything that makes me happy and transforms me to the better version of myself, then why not?
Yeah, and I want us to now get into the initiative that you run, and that is the See Beyond Microcephaly. If you can just, first of all, let us in on, you know, what microcephaly is. I know for some people this is the first time they are hearing that word. So what is it, and what about it prompted you to decide, I want to start an initiative for children who are living with that?
Microcephaly, in simple terms, it's a medical condition whereby a baby is born with a smaller head than expected due to abnormal brain development. Usually it's caused by a lot of factors, such as genetic factors, that is the chromosome changes and Down syndrome. We have infections by the mother during pregnancy. We have drug and substance abuse. We have severe malnutrition. And I can mention a few. So I, as a special needs educator with my years in teaching, I came to realize that these families don't really get enough support. And microcephaly is not something that people really speak about, and they're not really ready to speak about it. So I came to form an organization called the See Beyond Microcephaly to help these children, to support this family and make them being seen, by just creating awareness, making people understand what really this is, and promote a society that has the inclusion, and also support these families that have microcephaly. Because I believe that these kids, they should be seen beyond their challenges or beyond their medical conditions, because they deserve to be valued and dream big.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And maybe just how do you go about this initiative? How do you go about ensuring that you are creating awareness on microcephaly?
Okay, the initiative just started. I would say it's 3 months old now.
Okay.
Yeah, and for my first step, I did a charity outreach. And for the charity outreach, I just wanted to support families that have been affected by microcephaly. So I had time to visit a disability center, whereby I got to meet kids that have different disabilities. I would mention a few, such as cerebral palsy, autism, and microcephaly. So I just donated some resources to the disability center to make things easier for them. And I'm also working on other charity events coming up this July and August, whereby I'll have a cloth drive. I'll have people or well-wishers donate clothes, so that I'll do it personally, select them, see the best of them, and donate these to these kids. Yeah.
Do you feel like there is a gap, especially when it comes to children living with special needs? And the gap is coming in terms of we do not have enough awareness on some of these conditions. Do you feel like there's a gap? And if there is, how should we all together, you know, come and fill this gap?
There is a gap, because stigma existing itself is a very big gap, and misunderstanding that come with disabilities is also a lot. And these people suffer in silence, because I did my own research, and I could go through the social media accounts. The parents that decided to come out to the world to show that their kids have disabilities, the comment section was really hurting. So it just told me that these people are really suffering in silence, because people are not aware. They do not know what they're really talking about. So creating awareness and letting people know that microcephaly is a medical condition and it's not a curse. It's just a normal it's just an abnormal brain development of the child. So doing all this, if we create awareness and let people know that this and this is what happens for someone to have microcephaly or any other disabilities, will really help, because when people actually know what they are, they tend to be more understanding and compassionate.
Yeah. And you know, just from what you said, like even online, you know, when you get online with the ones that you already are in contact with, this is the parents of the children who are living with this condition. It is unfortunate that we still have the issue of stigma, and you know how that comes out specifically online, because now you are just behind your keyboard or your whatever it is, and you can spew whatever you want to spew. You just talk without minding what this other person is saying. So I feel like it's really time for us to just do away with some of these misconceptions, because it's unfortunate that in this time and age of social media, at the same time, which should also be used positively, and in terms of even receiving information, we still have people who don't understand conditions like this, and you hear misconceptions like what you were saying. You assume that it's a curse and whatnot, you know. So I agree with you that this is something that we should really get into and try to work on. And as you're doing that, maybe who would you like to have on board? You know, who should jump on this?
Everyone. Yeah, everyone. Literally everyone should just jump on board, because the bigger the society, the bigger the impact. So if we all come together and realize and learn what these disabilities are, then it makes it easier for us to be more compassionate and accept others in our own society. Yes.
Are there specific stories that really caught your attention?
Oh, well, I wouldn't mention names, but the story that really touched me was she is a mother of 2 special needs kids, and one of them is suffering from microcephaly, and it's not only microcephaly, but the kid also has cerebral palsy and autism at the same time. You know, this is too much for just one child to handle, and
So this is the initiative that you're going in with, even for the pageantry that you are competing in right now?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe just if you can speak on maybe some of the biggest barriers that you would say you've had to cross along the way.
Wow. So one of the biggest barriers I had to overcome was the need to realize that I don't have to fit in one box. You see, we tend to try and fit into one box because the society expects this or that from a woman. But one of the challenges that I have faced, and I am still facing, is being able to balance my responsibilities when it comes to being a special needs educator, a disability advocate, an actress, and a model. But I came to realize that I have the ability and I can do anything that I really want. So having experienced all this, it's made me realize that I can do better with myself. Yeah.
So you don't really need to choose your passion.
You really don't need to choose
Just
that. Whatever makes you happy, do that. Whatever transforms you to the better version of yourself, do that.
Yeah. And these are some of the, you know, the stereotypes that we're trying to break, whereby you're told you should just follow one path. And mainly, specifically as women, this is your path, just follow that, you know. And you're just put into this societal box that you need to fit in, and you can't move either way. You know, so is this something that you're also big on and working towards demystifying?
What I'm really working on right now is trying to do many things as possible with myself at this age. I want to explore everything that I find fun doing. I want to explore things that really transforms me. I want to explore things that builds me to the better version of myself. So whether it's be acting or modeling or being a special needs educator or being a disability advocate, I want to do it all. I want to try new things with myself right now.
Have you had people telling you you can't be a teacher, a special needs teacher, and at the same time also be a model? Have you encountered that?
Actually, no, but luckily enough, I've had people support that. And they're always like, how do you manage all this? You're from school, then you go straight to your acting rehearsals, then I also go to the gym. How do you find time? Let me tell you, if you really have something that you want to do, you'll find time for that. You have to set priorities, and that time will actually come. Yes.
We all have 24 hours. You choose what to do with yours.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love that, you know, you are allowing yourself to just be everything that you feel you're supposed to be. There's usually misconceptions around models and the modeling industry. Maybe are there some that you would like to speak against or demystify?
Yes. Based on a personal story, I joined Miss Hot Legs Kenya 2026 because I wanted to challenge myself on a bigger stage. I wanted to use my voice for a cause that is very close to my heart, and that is microcephaly. Microcephaly is very personal to me, and the stigma that surrounds individuals living with disabilities and their families are many, and I wanted to use my voice to help stop that stigma. So when it comes to Miss Hot Legs Kenya 2026, being a contestant, I saw this as a big platform to finally start that conversation and have my projects and initiatives to help these families. So what I would say that modeling is not about just beauty pageant. Modeling is a beauty pageant platform that empowers young women to be the better versions of themselves. Young women who can bring impact in their societies, and young women who can actually turn compassion into action and inspire others to do the same. Yeah, so modeling is not just about showcasing yourself or showcasing your talent on stage, but what is the impact that you bring with that crown? Because I believe every crown deserves for you to have a crown, you have to be someone that is willing to carry a load for someone else. Yes, that is what modeling is about, not just running on the runway or
not just the glitz, the glam that we all see at the end of the day.
There are a lot behind it.
Yeah, there's a lot behind it. And I particularly love the fact that, you know, each contestant, when it comes to pageantries, needs to have an initiative maybe that they're, or a project that they are running. And many a times when you get to listen to some of these projects as they're being pitched, you are amazed because they are really, really lovely, amazing projects. I think it was last week, but one we had a beauty queen, and she had represented us in Italy and came back with a crown. And her initiative was also so beautiful in ensuring that we end period poverty and how we can just, you know, do it ourselves, you know, and it's so beautiful to see that. And I love the fact that you are speaking to that as well, to the fact that it's not just about my beauty.
It's not.
There's so much more that I can do.
Yes.
Yeah. So you joining pageantry, was it mainly also because you can be able to now have a bigger voice when you are, you know, probably in a certain competition?
Yes. Joining pageantry was not just about trying new things. It was just about it was a moment of discovery. What can I use with my beauty? How do I stage myself? How do I impact my own society? So that is what I'd say it was all about. Yeah.
All right. And on that note, we take a break. Don't go too far. We'll be back to continue with this conversation. So stay with us.
Come on, how could it possibly be him? No, he's not that handsome.
I'm not asking you. He's the Requiem General of the Union Street. It's said that he's a formidable man with amazing power and low tolerance for weakness.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This is Women at the Forefront, and we are talking about just breaking barriers as women and allowing yourself to do everything that you feel you can do or are able to do. And with me in studio that we've been talking about, having this conversation rather with, is Charlotte. So Charlotte, you know, as we were going for that break, we were just talking about, you know, the fact that we should break the misconceptions, mainly on models, mainly on the pageantry world, and you spoke so well to that. And I want us to get back to children living with disability, because that's also, that's your advocacy, right?
Yes.
So for, you know, for us as a society, all of us, what better support and empowerment can individuals with special needs or living with special needs, or parents with children living with special needs, get to receive?
I would say financial support. It all starts with financial support, because when you're able financially, you're able to provide the right therapy for your children. You're able to provide the basic needs that they need, like food. Some of them need things like diapers and sanitary towels. So with the right financial support, or the enough financial support, everything will definitely be possible. Yeah.
So just whenever we see drives, because there are so many drives, or charity drives here, charity drives there, what you're saying is whenever we come across such, just
send
lend
anything.
a helping hand, in whichever way.
Yeah, there's no amount of help that is small. Yeah, anything goes a long way. Yes.
And you know, I like that you put that. And many a times when you talk about financial support, you don't really need to send the money.
Yeah.
You know, some of these drives, as you say, there's a call for diapers.
Yes.
Just bring in diapers. So if you can just buy the diapers
and donate it, it's all fine. Yes, if you can buy food and donate it, it's all fine. If you can offer a therapy session, maybe you say, I'll book a therapy session for this child, it's all fine. Yeah, that's the amount of support that we all need. Yeah.
All right, so for the young people who may be watching this and they feel that pressure to just fit into societal expectations, whichever expectations it may be, what would be your word for them?
My word for them would be, as a young woman, as a young man, you have to believe in yourself. You have to embrace your uniqueness. You have to do not allow the society's limitations define you, and do not try to fit into a box that doesn't define your greatness. You have to use your voice for any cause that matters to you, because your dreams are valid and your uniqueness has that shine. So don't limit yourself. Get your own purpose and go out there to find yourself. Yeah.
Don't lose yourself.
Don't lose yourself. If things get really hard, just take a breath. Breathe in, breathe out, get back to work. Yeah.
And I like that. And you know, we speak so much about the younger people, and even the conversation that was right here on the show earlier before we came in was still more or less on the same, on the younger people of this nation.
Yeah.
And you know, as a young person yourself, do you feel like sometimes you are misjudged?
Well, yes, because some people tend to think that if I am a teacher, then I should stay in class. After class, I go back home, do my own things, wake up again and go back to class. They expect you to stick so much into your professionalism without thinking that you have to explore. You have to do things that really make you be the better version of yourself. So I would say a society doesn't have to try to fit individuals to be in a certain box that they feel so suffocated. Let everyone do whatever they wish to and whatever makes them happy. Yes.
Yeah. As a special needs teacher, maybe is there a difference in teaching, you know, when it comes to, you know, teaching children with special needs and children who do not have any kind of needs? Is there a distinct difference?
Yes, that is where inclusion comes in. And it's not only about being the special needs educator, and this is about now me being part of the acting space. So being part of the creative art space has enabled me develop communication, understanding, creativity, and all that. So I can maybe use these skills, the acting and storytelling skills, to engage my lessons and make them more memorable. Because these children, they learn differently, especially children with special needs. So when you're able to tell a story and make your lessons more accessible to them, they tend to connect with you emotionally. And when students connect with you emotionally, you definitely empower them to be able to express themselves confidently. Because as a teacher and you have the skills of storytelling and acting, you get to meet your learners at their point of their own understanding. You get to know them, what they really feel like expressing themselves, and it makes them all fun and memorable. Yeah.
Do you actively get to do this?
Yes.
Use your storytelling side, use your, acting side.
Yes.
In this.
Yes. Actually, currently I have a 4-week program running with my student, and that is just to develop soft skills such as self-confidence, communication skills, conversation skills, and all that. So with that, I would have sessions whereby we just act out a situation, whereby you tell your student, let's assume you are a receptionist and I am a guest in your hotel. How do you act this out? Because my aim here is to improve their conversation. How do you improve your first impression when it comes to meeting someone else? So being able to act that out, I'm able to point out the improvements that they can make, the things that they have done great, and it's all fun. Because it doesn't have to be something that, today we are learning maths, take out your book, let's do math. You do the calculations and the lesson has come to an end. The child will not look forward to that lesson anymore. But when you tell them that tomorrow we'll have another session whereby you'll be acting as a teacher and I'll be acting as your own student, then they'll be looking forward to it. They'll be able to do their own research and tell you, hi, Miss Charlotte, tomorrow, since I'll be acting as a teacher, what really makes you a good teacher? Then she lists them down, and it's all amazing. Yes.
Clearly teaching has evolved over time.
It has.
Yeah, because even with the slogans that we've been hearing online, where people tend to say things like "Mwalimu wa maths hapa ni wapi," it's so clear that you pick where that is coming from, because maybe the teacher who used to teach them maybe would try to show them that you really, if you're not smart in the sense of being very book smart, then maybe you will amount to nothing. But I like that this is changing. Would you say that this is something that is changing over time, even with the new crop of teachers? Not to say that the older teachers know nothing against that, but just with the new crop of teachers, is this something that you are practically and intentionally working on, in that you allow these children to just be themselves? There are people who are gifted differently. I may not be good in books, but I'm a great footballer,
So what I'd say is that it's really changing. And if I could compare to the time when I was in class as a student, their age, then a lot has really changed, because the upcoming teachers or the current teachers are teachers that really value things that are outside the class, the abilities of the children outside the class, their talents, their abilities, and all that. So actually, my dad is a teacher, and I tend to have attended one of his lessons when I was in high school. And let me tell you, he is a great teacher, but the lessons were just about chemistry. Let's learn about chemistry. What is sodium hydroxide and all that? So it's just the same thing from the first lesson to the last lesson. So I wanted to try something new. Since acting and modeling excites me, since dancing excites me, why wouldn't I make my child or my student do the same, to have that fun and being able to be free during the lessons? So that I would say is the major transformation that is happening in the education system right now.
And what would you point to being what is bringing that shift, or what is bringing that change?
Discovery. It's people discovering themselves. Because if I was allowed to know that I could model in school, because if I would be allowed to know that I could be acting, then it will be much easier for me to do whatever I want with my own abilities and talents. So I would say that people are getting exposed. The theater industry is really growing and people are really finding it fun and educative. So that is what I'd say is really transforming the education right now.
Yeah. So even as you work with children who have special needs, is this something that you are distinct about at the same time? And by this I mean, are you distinct in pointing out or figuring out what this child is talented in, what this other child is talented in? Because unfortunately, many a times, we don't look beyond the disability.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one thing about disabilities, it really affects the child learning in class, maybe when it comes to reading and writing. So this one thing about these children is they are able differently, because you will notice that, yes, the child can't write properly, but this child can definitely dance. So this child cannot read properly, but this child can actually act out properly, you see. So being able to look at these children as abled differently then really helps you as a teacher to identify if they can do this or that. Yes, you have to explore with them, you have to make them try new things and identify their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. What children do you work with or get to teach? Is there a specific age group?
No, currently, but I have worked with teenagers. I've worked with children around 4 to 10 years too. Yes, but most of the time I work with teenagers. Yes.
The 4-week program that you touched on earlier on, is it open? Is it something you do? Is it open for maybe any parent who could be watching and has a child with special needs and would love to get to know more about that?
Yes, definitely. So the 4-week program is organized in a way, we have different sessions in every week, the week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So the first week we could have communication skills. The second week we could have self-advocacy and awareness, public speaking and all that, because when the child has special needs, it's really hard for them to express themselves. Their social skills are a bit low, so engaging them in such activities really help them to express themselves confidently. Yes, so any parent who would wish to have the 4-week program or any 8-week program, depends with the time schedule that you have, it really works, because at the end of this program you'll have assessment. You'll see the improvements out of maybe, let's say, 30 marks. How did the student start? Let's say with 10. And by the end of the program they had 20. That's a very great achievement for the student and you as a teacher, and also as you as a parent. So I would definitely advise any parent or any teacher to have this 4-week program skills to help their children with special needs. Yeah.
So the program, is it something that is open, or it's only for the institution that you are in right now?
It's open. Okay. It's definitely open. It's open. Out there, yes.
Yeah. All right. So for maybe a parent who would like to reach out, they can find you maybe on social media?
On social media at Charlotte Ondigochia on Instagram. Yes.
All right. If there's one thing that you could change, you know, if there's one thing that you could change in terms of how society views people who are different, what would it be? Or maybe 2.
One thing or 2 things I would change is people's perception. People's perception and compassion. I would love a society that is more compassionate, a society that connects with the special needs or people that have been affected with disability emotionally, because when you connect emotionally with people, you get to be more understanding and compassionate. And when it comes to perception really matters. How do you perceive this person? Do you see them as just someone on the wheelchair, or do you see them as someone who is more capable, someone who is supposed to be valued and even dream big? Those are the two things that I would really love to change. Yeah, perception and compassion.
Yeah, and you've actually brought me to my next question, which was on perception. Do you think it's easy, or is it easy to be able to change perceptions? Because as you mentioned, this is something that we should work on. So when it comes to perception, is it something that can be easily changed? Because, you know, with perceptions, it's more or less like a culture. This is how you view things, this is how you perceive things. So it's like your culture. So is it easy to change that?
I would say it's really easy, because with perception comes awareness. When someone is aware of what they are really doing, then they would have the right perception of something else. And because misconceptions comes when people really don't know what this or that is all about. But with the right awareness and information, it will really be easier to change someone's perception. Yes, it's about learning. Human nature, we have to learn and see things differently. Yeah.
So it is all doable?
Yes, it's very doable. Especially if people want to. Yes.
So it's all a matter of us taking responsibility.
Exactly.
And intentionally working towards it. Would you say that's the case?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, as we wind up on this conversation, just for someone who's watching us right now, a young lady who's watching us, and they were feeling like they were in a limbo, in the sense of they really didn't know what to stick with, because probably they were taught that you need to have one thing that you are really following and stick to that. So for that young lady who's been able to see you here today and heard that you are a special needs teacher, you are an advocate for disability, and you're also a model and an actress, what would you say to them?
It's high time someone gets out of that box that they're trying to fit in just to meet people's expectations. Yeah, it's high time for them to see themselves differently, and it's high time for them to come out of that box and try new things. If you want to be a special needs educator, go do it. If you want to be an advocate for any disability or any challenges that your society is facing, go do it. If you want to be a dancer, if you want to be anything that you would want to be, just get out of your comfort zone and do it. One thing that I have learned is the important thing with life, as long as you can breathe, you can definitely do anything that you would wish to do. Because with life comes everything. When you have that life, you're able to create life in something else. So don't feel stuck. If things feels overwhelming, you can restructure. You can go back to the drawing board and see what else you can do about it. What makes you happy, do it. What makes you find the better version of yourself, do it. And what makes you a better woman in your society, do it. Do not limit yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for caregivers, you know, of children who are abled differently, what would be your word for them?
They're amazing. They're the most amazing human beings, because it takes more than compassion to do that. It takes more than love to do that. I would say that they're best people, because they take their own time, they take their own energy to invest in caregiving, and that's what I would say. Yeah.
All right. Your parting shot, that's your camera. We finish.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and I would love people out there to create a society whereby we value people with disability. We see them as part of us. We see them as people that can dream big. And to any mother or to any child that is affected by microcephaly or any disabilities, you are not alone. And this is a reminder that you're valued and you're seen. I would love also people to follow my Instagram account, Charlotte Ondegochia, to get more to be more empowered, to follow my initiative organization, and that is See Beyond Microcephaly on Instagram, to be part of this wonderful society that helps people living with microcephaly. And lastly, to follow Miss Hot Legs Kenya 2026, to be part of these women that make impacts in the society. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on our set this morning.
Thank you.
This is where we end this conversation and get to give way for the National Assembly proceedings. My name is Vivian Degwa. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.
He is not my boyfriend.
Baby, bado uko in bad mood za moment.
Hey!
8.2 million sio shilingi mbili bana. I'm in no mood to receive bad news.
What do you mean you have bad news? Mark, you had one job and one job only.
I'll make you go down. Umenisikia?
We lay low, act as if everything was as before.
Nothing is as it was before now, is it? What are we toasting to? I know nothing.
Hey.
Mark alikuambia nini kuhusu container yangu?
Cheers.
Lights on, volume up. This is where stories come alive. From local drama that hits close to home.
Huyu ni nani?
Alinivamia akiwa na vijana wengine wawili. Toka nje!
Hii nyumba yako. Yote ni porojo.
To international series everyone's talking about. Stories that pull you in. Characters you won't forget.
Stop complaining and just get out of here. Go now, go.
We turn up the volume with music that moves, showcases rising stars, and bring the beat straight to your living room. And when it's time to talk, we don't hold back.
How is everything going?
Real conversations, big personalities, the issues, the loves, the moment everyone's debating the next day. Every show, every night, different voices, one destination. This is television that feels